I am Jaron Brandon, and I am not a warlock.
I'm Jaron Brandon, and I am not a warlock. I am you.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? With a real Jaron Brandon, please stand up. I repeat, with a real Jaron Brandon, please stand up. I think we have a problem here. I'm Jaron Brandon. I'm the real Shady. Oh, you are the Slim Shady, so just imitating. Come on. Who wants the real Jaron Brandon? Please stand up, please stand up, please stand up. I'm Jaron Brandon, just from the real Shady. Oh, you are the Slim Shady, so just imitating.
My name is Jaron Brandon. I'm running for District 5 County Supervisor. Now, District 5 includes the historic townships of Jamestown, Columbia, Tuttletown, Stent, and the Western County. And it's the best damn district in the county.
I'm not a warlock no matter what you see on video with your own eyeballs. What else am I supposed to say? You caught me red-handed, man.
Instead, I want to talk about why I'm unremarkable.
What did you say? What the fuck did you just say?
I want to talk about why I'm unremarkable.
Hold on a second, hold on. Oh, quiet. Hey, motherfuckers. Stop. No. Hey, motherfucker, look at you. Hey, look at me. Hey, me right here, motherfucker. Look at me. Get the fuck out of my show right now. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my show. Get the fuck out of my show right now.
Yo, this is Slim Shady, okay? Get this, Jaron Brandon claims to have fresh new ideas and bisexual. I mean bipartisan support. On top of that, he claims to be independent.
What up? This is Snoop Dogg, where you all in Jamestown and Columbia and the rest of my friends in Tuolumne County. I remember you all and know that Jaron Brandon is no good. Vote for the other guy.
Snoop Doggy, thank you for spitting the truth about that snake. Jaron Brandon is corrupt as hell and no good District 5. Stay alive, survive, and thrive with the other guy.
Jaron Brandon said he ain't no good old bull. That is the funniest thing I've heard on the mountain. My friends in Tuolumne County. Remember, I got the hat. Vote for Schmidt in District 5. Love you all in 2024. Peace out.
Park it like it's hot. 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 Park it like it's hot.
Snoop Dogg and Slim Shady, this is Johnny Cash, and unfortunately you're both right. Jaron Brandon has let the people of Tuolumne County down. Jaron Brandon, he is a little punt who has tarnished God's country with his George Soros New World Order. Bullshit! But Jaron Brandon wants to hurt the ranchers with the crazy climate action plan. Watch out for that crazy wacko, he will sell you out to dry. He's no good.
My name is Jaron Brandon, and I'm your county supervisor for District 5. 3 years ago, I took office running on a platform of change, and the issues that affect every single family within our community: housing, good jobs, transparency, and looking at also homelessness, public safety, forest management. We had no shortage of issues to choose from, impossible issues that had been built up over decades. I'm very proud that now 3 years later, not only am I more prepared to be able to take on these challenges, but we have accomplished so much in such a short amount of time. From the strongest and most ambitious housing platform ever proposed to try and restart our development, to be able to get places that people can live, to $1 billion.
Brandon's biggest donor is Valley Vista Property Investments, a Sonora-based limited partnership that's trying to develop subdivisions in Jamestown and East Sonora, which contributed $4,700 to his campaign. Jaron Brandon approved the subdivision when he was elected and did not recuse himself. Completely illegal.
Of economic development and biomass and resorts and infrastructure investments, to broadband, and to 160,000 acres of forest management. Even here within Columbia, looking at a $2 million a year CAL FIRE station to be able to protect such a treasured resource, and going from losing deputies year after year after year to now hiring them like mad, rebuilding things like our narcotics task force, proactive policing, and the ag crimes officers as well. We've had no shortage of successes, and I encourage you to reach out, because if you know me, you know that I love to talk to you, I love to answer questions. But I do need your help, because we're going to be choosing whether we want to continue on this path of solving problems or just having bumper sticker answers.
Oh,
wow. Let's go, Brandon. So look.
This February, you're going to be mailed a ballot, and I hope for your support. If you're not sure about it, just send me a text, give me a call. Send me an email. I'm happy to answer, but with your support, I'm committed to another 4 years of being able to put Tuolumne County back on track. You know that I'm tough, independent, and accessible.
Oh, wow.
Yosemite Sam! It's Yosemite Sam! Yosemite, yeah, Yosemite Sam! The roughest, toughest he-man, stuffest hombre has ever crossed the Rio Grande. And I ain't no mamby-pamby. Now all of you skunks, clear out of here!
My, weren't there a lot of skunks in here?
Howdy, everyone in Tuolumne County, Columbia, and Jamestown in District 5. I need to warn you of a snake-eyed fella running for the Board of Supervisors named Jaron Brandon. Whatever you do, stay away from him and vote for the other guy instead. Jaron Brandon is no good.
It's Senior Yosemite Sam here in Tuolumne County, California, where I encourage you all to check out my friends Tony Kushner in District 1 and Catherine Sori in District number 4.
Ladies are running for Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors.
Snoop Dogg, M&M and even Johnny Cash have commented on the various controversies surrounding the embattled Jaron Brandon.
I noticed the video had 666 views and 33 likes. These are some very, very interesting occult numbers. Do you know anything about numerology or gematria?
Damn! Jaron Brandon was allegedly arrested at the age of 23 for alcohol-related offenses, including public intoxication, obstructing, and resisting arrest.
What you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Chevron don't come for you? Tell me what you wanna do, what you gonna do? Yeah. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
John Flynn saw the Cops TV show, or what was it?
Called Cops.
Go ahead. You saw Jaron Brandon on Cops?
I saw Jaron Brandon on Cops. It was Stanislaus County Sheriff Department. And I was just watching this, the same old. Young guy gets pulled over. He's coming home from Modesto, and they said that he was... so we determined that you have been drinking, you've been swerving, you've been drinking, and we're going to take you in. And they went to cuff him, and he turns around and sucker punches a deputy right in the face. Oh my God, suicide. And he was instantly thrown to the pavement. There was about 4 or 5 of them. They just, and I would, if I was the sheriff then and I got sucker punched like that in the face, I would have done the same thing.
Please stand up, please your attention, please. May I have your attention, please. For the real dog, Brandon, please stand up. I repeat, for the real dog, Brandon, please stand up. I think we have a problem here. I'm dog on Brandon. I'm the real Sadie. Oh, you were the slim Sadie. So just imitating dog, Brandon, please stand up. I think we have a problem here. I'm dog on Brandon. I'm the real Sadie. Oh, you were the slim Sadie. So just imitating, come on. So what the real dog, Brandon, please stand up, please stand up, please stand up. Japan, cause I'm dog Brandon. Just from the real Sadie. Oh, you were the slim Shady, so just imitating. So on the real dog, Brandon, please stand up, please stand up, please stand up.
I am Jaron Brandon, and I am not a warlock. I am you.
I'm you.
I'm Jaron Brandon, and I am not a warlock. I am you. I am not a warlock. I lock.
I'm not a witch. I'm nothing you've heard. I'm you. I'm not a witch. None of us are perfect, but none of us can be happy with what we see all around us. Politicians who think spending, trading favors, and backroom deals are the ways to stay in office. Politicians, stay in office. I'll go to Washington and do what you do. I'm Christine O'Donnell, not a politician and not a witch. I'm Christine O'Donnell. I'm you. I'm not a witch. I'm nothing you've heard. I'm you.
I'm very proud to introduce this. I think that this is a normal course of business. I'm very proud to have this, and I'm proud of everybody that showed up too.
Bros, I have to tell you guys something, but you have to promise that you won't make fun of me.
Alright.
Are you gay?
Me? What are you, gay?
I've had people that I think had tried to apply that to me, even though I'm not a member of that community.
I'm an asshole. Yo.
Based on what they thought I looked like, or acted like, or talked like as a kid.
Jaron Brandon, you need to grow up. Society is not to blame for your childhood bullying, and you have divided the community over an issue that acknowledges rights of one class and not the other non-gay class of people when the gays already have constitutional rights.
And that had led to bullying, even though that's not something that had applied. For one community, I'm very proud to introduce this. This is a normal course of business. I'm very proud to have this, and I'm proud of everybody that showed up too. Very proud to introduce this. I'm very proud.
I have to tell you guys something, but you have to promise that you won't make fun of me. Alright, here goes. Bros, I'm gay. Wow. You guys don't have anything to say? You're just gonna judge me like that?
No, bro, we're not judging. It's 2023. We're all gay, right, bro? Yeah. Gays in the street.
Wait, what? You guys are all gay?
Yeah, even Sam's gay. He's got a girlfriend.
I mean, technically, I'm sexually fluid, but I go both ways.
See, he likes
Bros, I have to tell you guys something, but you have to promise that you won't make fun of me. Alright, here it goes. Bros, I'm straight. This is my girlfriend. Bro, what is this? The early 2000s?
Get with the times. Dick is in. You're out.
You said you wouldn't make fun of me.
You're out of the frat.
Babe, let's get out of here. Come on.
Alright, bros, how about this? We hit at Sigap's party tonight. I heard they got a lot of hot bros there.
We love cock. We love cock.
Right now, in the middle right now, in the middle right now, in the middle.
And thank you, board and staff, for the time to be able to hear this item. As you know, many areas celebrate very festive and engaging Pride months and celebrations that I think are positive, but also recognize a history that hasn't always been positive. So watching an interview just recently talking about a time, it was with a federal employee, about how they couldn't not only just lead their department, but before, had they been identified as a member of the LGBT community, they couldn't have held a job in government and in the federal government. Luckily, we've come a long way from there. I think this is an important moment for Tuolumne County to recognize this community that has been here since the beginning. And it may be something we talk a lot more about at a national level, but they've always been around. They were here when it was founded. They were here when the nation was founded. They've always been a part of the history. And as an ally to that community, and to anybody not familiar with that term, that is somebody that wants to ensure these are people that have the same rights and responsibilities and respect afforded to everybody else under the Constitution, to be able to make sure that they're treated as people and that they are, I think, given that same level of respect. Anyway, I want to say that we as community leaders, it should be always a goal of ours to be able to model, I think, acceptance and tolerance in the kind of community that we want to live in. And the community that I would like to live in is one that accepts everybody and celebrates everybody. We do know that this is an issue.
Get ready, everybody. He's about to do something stupid.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, gentlemen, but you seem to have me confused with a character in a fictional show. Now, if you'll excuse me, my fondue is just about...
In the middle right now, in the middle right now, in the middle right now, in the middle right now. In the middle right now, in the middle right now, in the middle right now, in the middle.
We're on time at the present time for our plane liftoff of 32 minutes past the hour. 12, 11, 10, 9, ignition sequence start.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
How dare you!
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school. On the other side of the ocean. You all come to us young people for hope. For hope. How dare you?
The hairs on your arm will stand up at the terror in each sip and in each sup. Will you partake of that last offered cup, or disappear into the potter's ground when the man comes around? Hear the trumpets, hear the pipers, 100 million angels singing. Multitudes are marching to the big kettle drum. Voices calling, voices crying. Some are born and some are dying. It's Alpha and Omega's kingdom come. And the whirlwind is in the thorn tree. The virgins are all trimming their wicks. The whirlwind is in the thorn tree. It's hard for thee to kick against the pricks. Till Armageddon, no shalom, no shalom. Then the father hen will call his chickens home. The wise men will bow down before the throne, and at his feet they'll cast their golden crowns when the man comes around. Whoever is unjust, let him be unjust still. Whoever is righteous, let him be righteous still. Whoever is filthy, let him be filthy still. Listen to the words long written down when the man comes around. Hear the trumpets, hear the pipers,
100 million angels singing.
Good evening. Tuolumne County Supervisor Jaron Brandon was arrested and charged with alcohol-related criminal driving under the influence of alcohol, public intoxication, obstructing a police officer and resisting arrest. This news of the arrest comes at a time when Jaron Brandon is running for re-election for the Board of Supervisors in District 5, which includes Columbia and Jamestown in Tuolumne County, California.
Of January 26, 2024, Jaron Brandon has not filed his campaign finance reports on time as reported by the Union Democrat.
I'm an asshole, yo, 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 yo. I'm an asshole, yo, 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 yo. I use public toilets and I piss on a seat. I walk around in the summertime saying, how about this heat? I'm an asshole, yo, yo, yo. I'm an asshole. Sometimes I park in handicapped spaces while handicapped people make handicapped faces.
Watch out who you vote for. There are confirmed facts that Jaron Brandon and the other board members have not posted the mandated surety bonds or even taken the proper oath of office, including the loyalty oath mandated by the California Constitution, Article 20, Section 3.
In measured hundredweight and penny pound.
How many people remember the attack on the parents trying to defend their kids against the mask mandates from the unlawful orders of the school boards? Do y'all guys remember that? Well, I want to show you something cool. How did they get that removed? How did that stop in the schools? I'm going to show you a big part of how they got it to shut down. And I found this along my journey, looking things up, researching things. So I already knew who these people were. Let me show you. Bonds for the win. So this website figured out how to get the bonds for the school board. Bonds are insurance policies in case they violate your rights. Most people don't know that someone in the school board would have it. But basically everybody who works for the public is a public servant. You have to think about it, right? They get a little piece of your labor. Yes, your labor. Everybody out there laboring, you have to give up some of your labor to all the public servants so that they could operate. Cops, judges, school board, you name it, they're taking some of your labor to fund what they're doing. So what does that make them? It makes them your employee. But somewhere along the line, everything's been inverted. A lot of my past accounts and past videos, I show you how the inversion happened. And one of the big key points is back in 1871. Now, this lady that created Bonds for the Win is now speaking about that. Everything that we teach, she's exposing, which is really awesome. But let's get back to Bonds for the Win, right? So no matter what kind of position you're in, even if you don't have an oath, if you are working in a position to service the people, there's an umbrella bond for that person. Like, let me explain. Like for the governor. The governor would have his own personal bond in case he violates someone's rights. Someone else voted in would be the same way, right? Like, let's say the county clerk, anybody voted in, the sheriff. Yeah, we'll use the sheriff. Check out this one. So these aren't sheriffs, these are just cops, right? So the sheriff is voted into position. He has a main umbrella bond for him. As he deputizes all his deputies, they all fall underneath his bond. So they don't individually have them, only the main sheriff does. But they all fall underneath his umbrella bond. So no matter what, everybody in a public capacity has some sort of bond because they're public servants, guys. So Bonds for the Win website's really good. It explains short how these public servants work for you. It's pretty good information, to be honest. And the way you acquire these is all through the Freedom of Information Act or public records request. Sometimes they'll take Freedom of Information out and just put public records requests to try to confuse people so people don't actually request the right information. But that's what it's also called. But you can find a lot of stuff out here, and this is just basic about public servants, their oath, and their bond. So what does it actually do? Let me explain. The Constitution is a contract between we the people and government. Under this contract, if they violate any of our rights that are enumerated in the Bill of Rights, they are liable. So they take an oath to uphold the contract, and then they have an insurance policy pulled out because now they could violate someone's rights. They're in a position as a public servant to violate somebody if they don't uphold their oath. So, because of that risk, in every state, there's a risk management department. They could be worded a little bit different. We put it in our class to show people how to sue their asses. In the risk management department, that's where the oaths, the bonds, not the oaths, that's where the bonds are kept. The oaths are very simply kept typically right where that office is. Like if you want the sheriff's oath, it's literally at the sheriff's office. You have to do a public records request to get the head sheriff's office oath. We know because that's how we've done it. So if you ever come across someone like a judge and he doesn't have an oath of office, he is absolutely not going to uphold your rights to the Constitution because he has no legal obligation to. Now, all this knowledge I learned from just investing into myself, and that's what is needed around the world. The reason I say we don't need violence is because we don't. All we need is you to learn your rights, and you will have the will to unite. You will have the unity within your heart because you'll see through the game. You'll see that everything's about divide and conquer between these people. Everything's about control and splitting us apart so that we can never unite as a people and to hold these people accountable for what they're doing. The atrocities. Everything has been meticulous for a very long time. This power structure that has been in place for such a long time, it's old. It's very old and it's very sophisticated. And it's all collapsing right now. How are so many people able to see through the crap and to see, oh, look, there's the truth over there? It's because it's all imploding right now. Things that used to be very easily covered up for them are now wide open. Like how they killed all those people in Lahaina, like how they did that. They've been doing that. They're still doing that. And the only way it stops is by you learning what your rights are and what's really going on in the world and standing up. Let me show you the video of this lady who created Bonds for the Win. She's literally explaining everything that we teach, show people how to operate in trust. We even have our trust book coming out to show people how the government operates so you can operate that way. Because if you're not operating like this, you're underneath them. But if you operate like this, you're equal. They can't tell you what to do because you're not their employee anymore. Citizens are employees for the federal corporation. It takes time to learn all this, so just take a deep breath. It's going to be fine. Take the time and invest into yourself and know that this isn't a bad time. Even though there's all this evil around us, it's been around this whole time, but none of us have been aware to see it so we can put a stop to it. This knowledge that's coming out is going to allow us, like there's no stopping what's coming. Nothing can stop it. It's a mass awakening. It's coming through source down to the people, to God's children. You are a God's child. I am God's child. That information flow is coming through us and there's nothing they can do to stop it. The unity that's going to come from this is going to collapse them, but it takes all of us. That's why I promote peace and unity, because war and division is their exact tactic. And it's exactly what they want to see happen. But the moment that people stand together and we say enough's enough, that's it. We'll help our farmers. We'll help our agricultural people. We'll help our educational people. And before you know it, we'll have all this technology restored to us that's been taken. We'll have all this unity that's restored to us that's been taken. We'll have all the beauty of why we're here and what we're meant to be here for restored. It only comes by unity. It doesn't come by war and destruction. Because if you can't tell, there's already a war going on in the background. If you can't see the war that's happening, it's okay. You're not everybody's there. Not everybody can see what's really happening. But just know, if you want to stand up for good, you're on the winning side. No matter what happens, nothing can stop what's changing right now. Because it's coming from above. And it's flowing through God's children. Everything. The trees, it's everywhere. And it's a part of you. That's why you're here. It's why you're watching this video right now. So this is the lady that helped create Bonds for the Win. Look, it was right here, published August 30th, 2023. Pretty recent. It says to QV Trust. That's the secret trust that the government operates of you behind your back. That's what the court runs off of. Trust law. It's all secret trust law, guys. Nobody knows about this stuff. She's exposing it. And it all started with her exposing how these school board officials have power over the children. And now look. She's all the way up to this.
Standing up to the school board, and the school board would shut off the lights. They would run out of the room like cockroaches. They would seek counsel to their lawyers, and they would come back 7 days later and vote 7-0, no masks and no more pornography in the library. Because again, the pornography also in the library is sexual harassment.
Go check out this video, guys. And if you're worried about your kids, 100% learn how to pull their bonds, how to write the Freedom of Information Act request. Her notice of intent is putting them on legal notice that she has the right to sue them. That's one of the first steps to sue someone. If she doesn't do that part first, you can't even sue anybody. You have to always put people on notice first for things like that. Everything in law is about notice. So she followed it right. She knows what she's doing. And anybody can do this. You don't have to be a state national, but all this stuff, this is all state national information. This is exposing the corruption of the corporation at its finest. And this is what everybody needs to go watch this. Straight up, if you're new and you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, go watch this video right here. This is it. It's on BitChute, right here, bitchute.com. And go check it out, guys. Go see for yourself. As people want to advance, to really learn how to stand up to the corruption and what you can actually do about it, we've created education. We literally gave our business away of 13 years to dedicate our lives to public service, to be able to help until this has changed. So currently, all we do is we work on freedom. Freedom for the body, freedom for the mind, freedom for the spirit. This is a picture of when we gave our business away to Denise right here. Denise was loyal, has the biggest heart, and she deserved it. So everything in the salon that we had for 13 years, we gave it to Denise. Now Denise is successful, she's kicking butt, taking names, enjoying her life, and now we're on to our next adventure. That's Gwen and Ashley. And there's all of us right there on our brochure, helping to expose corruption, teach you your rights so that you can stand up in a lawful way that keeps people out of trouble. Once you realize the divide and conquer that they've done to us, you'll realize we're only one race. It's called the human race. There's only one love. It's called love. If you have a soul, I'm talking to you. This has nothing to do with race, gender, nationality. This has to do with good versus evil. That's it. And who are you and what side are you going to stand on? There's no more fence for everybody out there. Like, the fence is gone. You can't ride the fence no more. You got to pick a side, guys. You have to stand up for what you believe in. It's why you're here right now.
This guy named Jaron Brandon into all of Meade County really fucked up.
This guy is to all of Meade County named Jaron Brandon is a county board supervisor, and he really fucked up along with the other board members who did not post their surety bonds or even loyalty oath. Like, Trump just got hit with that. In California, they had to accommodate the communists.
Joe, this affects Governor Gavin Newsom too and all the state judges. I can clear my record.
3 years after the attack on the Capitol, I'm just curious, Mr. Secretary, do you view Donald Trump as a threat to American democracy?
Well, first of all, good to be with you, Jim. It is a tragic day in our nation's history. And yes, I do regard him as a threat to democracy. Democracy as we know it, our institutions, our political culture, all those things that make America great and have defined us as, the oldest democracy on this planet.
That was Donald Trump's former Secretary of Defense, Marc Esper, saying that Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy. I'm Ben Meiselas from the Midas Touch Network. That wasn't a Democrat. That isn't a lefty. That is Donald Trump's own former Secretary of Defense saying Trump is absolutely a threat to our democracy. And over the weekend, as we mourned January 6th and the travesty that took place that day, Donald Trump continued to support insurrectionists and just outright explained that he wants to overthrow our democracy. Donald Trump is refusing in Illinois to sign a loyalty oath saying that he won't advocate for overthrowing the government, even though Trump signed this loyalty oath. It's a very simple loyalty oath. President Biden signed it. All candidates signed this because it just simply says, I'm not going to overthrow the United States government. Donald Trump is refusing to sign it right now in 2024. Let me just show you what this oath looks like. It's a vestige from the 1950s, and all the candidates just sign this. Trump's refusing to sign it. Here's what it says. I, Joseph Biden, do swear or affirm that I am a citizen of the United States and of the state of Delaware, that I am not affiliated directly or indirectly with any communist organization or any communist front organization or any foreign political agency, party, organization, or government which advocates the overthrow of the constitutional government by force or other means not permitted under the Constitution of the United States or the Constitution of this state. That I do not directly or indirectly teach or advocate the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state or any unlawful change in the form of the government thereof by force or any unlawful means. Signed, President Joe Biden. Donald Trump's refused to sign that document. The story here was broken by WBEZ and the Chicago Sun-Times, collectively that broke this story. This is a decades-old tradition to sign this. And here's what the article says. Trump did not sign Illinois loyalty oath that says he won't advocate for the overthrowing of the government. The Democrats, President Biden's campaign statement comes in response to this report published earlier that showed Donald Trump did not sign the state's loyalty oath as part of his package of ballot access paperwork submitted Thursday to the Illinois State Board of Elections. That omission coming just days before the third anniversary of the January 6th insurrection, for which Trump has been criminally charged, is a departure from his presidential candidacies of 2016 and 2020, when he affixed his signature to the oath both times. Quote, "For the entirety of our nation's history, presidents have put their hand on the Bible and sworn to protect and uphold the Constitution of the United States, and Donald Trump can't bring himself to sign a piece of paper saying he won't attempt a coup to overthrow our government," Biden campaign spokesman Michael Tyler said in a statement Saturday. "We know he's deadly serious because 3 years ago from today, he tried and failed to do exactly that. This is the same man who thinks American troops who died protecting the ideals outlined in the Constitution are suckers and losers, yet calls the convicted felons who violently assaulted and killed police officers on January 6th hostages. He can't fathom putting anything, our country, our principles, or the well-being and safety of the American people above his own quest for retribution and power." So, in addition to not signing that, Donald Trump has also refused to sign or say that he has signed off on the oath of office. Donald Trump, as part of his argument why he should not be disqualified under the 14th Amendment, Section 3, Trump claims that he is not an officer and he never took an oath to support the Constitution of the United States. And this isn't, "Oh, Ben, this is hyperbole. Why would you just say that?" Okay, well, this is Donald Trump's legal filing before the Colorado Supreme Court. It's the same argument he's making before the United States Supreme Court. Donald Trump states in this that Donald Trump did not take the oath to support the Constitution of the United States, and it says the presidency is also not an office, quote, "under the United States," and the president is not an officer of the United States, and Trump did not take an oath to support the Constitution. That's what Donald Trump is saying over the weekend on the solemn anniversary of the January 6th insurrection.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Man in America. I'm your host, Seth Holhouse. So, one of my favorite guests, Todd Callender, will be joining us today, and we're going to be talking about a topic that he's been covering, which I think is really important. It's the fact that all of these elected officials never took their oaths of office. And there's some breaking news coming out of Epoch Times about Fauci and all these different directors that also did not take their oath of office. And so this is very strange that you basically have all of these actors that are pretending to be these officials that are running our government. And so I've got a bunch of questions for Todd. Why are they doing it? What are the implications? Is it part of some white hat operation, or is it part of some criminal enterprise? And just where are we at overall in this battle? So folks, this is going to be a really deeply engaging and hopefully enjoyable interview with Todd Callender. Before we get started, though, make sure you're following me on social media. It's at Man in America. On Twitter, it's at Man in America US. Every show is also done as a podcast. So if you prefer to listen, just go to your favorite podcast app and search for Man in America. You can find me on Rumble as my main video platform. I'm also on LFA TV over on Rumble as well. And maybe you've seen already, but we're doing our weekly silver giveaways. So every week, we're giving away 5 ounces of pure silver. These are little buffalo rounds. So just as a thank you to the Man in America audience. So if you want to enter in to win, you enter in once, your name and your email, and then every week you're put back in the drawing until you win some free silver. So that sounds great. To enter in, though, go to silverseth.com. So again, that's silverseth.com. You just need your name and your email. All right, folks, let's jump in this interview with Todd Callender. Todd, it's just great to have you back on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's one of my favorite times, Seth. I love being with you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And there's just, well, obviously it's an absolute joy to talk with you, but you're brilliant. You're paying attention. and you're kind of a jack of all trades. You can go from talking legal lawfare to vaccines to new world order to central bank digital currency, that's where, like, I'm not really an expert in anything, but I know enough about a lot of subjects to make an interesting conversation. And so it's great.
I don't know, man. I look at you and some of my other friends like you, and you interview so many people and you get to ask them these great penetrating questions. And I think that actually makes you the repository of knowledge. So actually, I enjoy talking to you because you've got knowledge I don't have. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's funny because I was interviewing another host at one point, and we were talking about this exact subject. And he goes, he's like, what we are pearl stringers. You have all these brilliant people that have the pearls. Yes. And what we do is we string them all together. And so, I just interviewed Naomi Wolf this morning, right? So I get to talk to her and see what she's doing, and then talk to General McInerney and see what he thinks, and then pull all these things together. And it really helps to form the picture because we're really, I feel like that we're at this very multi-pronged war where there's so much happening on so many different fronts that it can be overwhelming, but sometimes it's helpful to take a step back and see where everything fits together.
Yeah, the fog is clearing. Sorry about the analogies and the colloquialisms, but there are things that apply. We're seeing the information has escaped. The genie's out of the bottle. We've been in this war, and it's been really, frankly, hell for a couple, 3 years. But now we're starting to get perspective, and we can actually see what's happening. Thanks, really, to you and your other pearl stringers. It's a great analogy. It's coming, and the revelations. We're really here, Seth. It's all coming out, and it's all related.
It is, which brings us to one of the topics I want to hone in on today. Is that I know that you've been talking about for quite some time now the fact that you discovered that all of these elected officials didn't actually take their oath, and so they were almost like actors. Right. They were
not almost. They are actors. They're impersonating federal officials.
Exactly, and so which was kind of wild. And so I want to talk about that, but I want to bring up just this. Here's an Epoch Times article. I saw this pop up. I think it was yesterday, which just like blew my mind. I said, "Oh, thank goodness I've got Todd scheduled to come on tomorrow because this is exactly it." So I'm going to read through this, and I want to hand it to you because you can give a lot more background on what we're seeing here with this Epoch Times article, but also what you've found and what your team has been working on. So this is on the Epoch Times. It says Fauci, other NIH officials may not have been legally appointed to their offices, House GOP says. So I'm going to read a few things here. So former NIAID director, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and a dozen other directors of the National Institutes for Health, NIH, appear not to have been legally appointed to their offices, according to a year-long investigation by the House Energy and Commerce Committee Republicans. Because of the questions about their legal status, every decision made by the directors, including most critically the winners of nearly $26 billion in research grants, could be subject to extended litigation or outright nullification. And it continues here, and this is, I think, a very important part of this. Among the $26 billion in grants now in question is the latest to EcoHealth Alliance, the New York-based nonprofit through which the NIH sent at least $1.7 million to the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. Right. So basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, there's all these officials that are in a government capacity that did not, they're discovering they did not take their oaths, therefore nullifying their position, meaning that they're a fraud. It's like a doctor who never went to medical school coming in and pretending to be a doctor. And not only would it nullify their positions, but potentially every decision, every order, every directive they've instituted while at these organizations. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Todd. What do you make of all this?
Okay, so the short answer is yes, you have that exactly right. The operative law here is 5 USC, that's U.S. Code 3332 and 3331. And this law arises, believe it or not, out of Benedict Arnold. So back in the origins of our country, the fight for independence, the Revolutionary War, Benedict Arnold was a traitor and disclose to the British where battles were going to happen and what fortifications we had. And so when you then secede and you have your country, how does one get people to actually act only for you, right? Because our country was full of traitors at the time. They call them loyalists. So how does one establish a duty? If I hire you, Seth, because you're going to be my Secretary of Defense, how do I make sure Seth is really the one that's going to do the job and that he's going to be loyal to this enterprise we call America? And the short answer is you create a legal duty, a lawful duty to say, okay, Seth, you swear this out with your life under penalty of perjury or maybe on your own death. How does that happen? Because if you swear an oath and you say you're going to do this job and you're going to be loyal and you don't, then the statute that applies is treason. And treason means death for you. Sedition and treason, the punishment is capital. You're going to die.
Folks, thanks for tuning in here on YouTube. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of the community guidelines, I can't publish the rest of this interview on YouTube. Otherwise, I'll get strikes and my account will be closed down because we talk about some of the things that you're not allowed to talk about on YouTube. So if you want to catch the rest of this interview, check out the description below the video. There's a link to go watch the full interview on Rumble. And just a note for you, for some of you that only follow me on YouTube, you might be thinking, gosh, why is Seth only publishing once a week, or it's mostly financial information? It's because the majority of my content I actually can't publish here on YouTube, and I have to publish over on Rumble. So I'm actually putting out 4 or 5 videos every week, but you may not even know that. So again, check out the link in the description below to watch the rest of this interview, and hopefully you can start tuning in over there on Rumble instead, because you're going to get the complete interview every single time.
Trumpets, hear the pipers, 100 million angels singing.
Good evening. Tuolumne County Supervisor Jaron Brandon was arrested and charged with alcohol-related criminal driving under the influence of alcohol, public intoxication, obstructing a police officer, and resisting arrest. This news of the arrest comes at a time when Jaron Brandon is running for re-election for the Board of Supervisors in District 5, which includes Columbia and Jamestown in Tuolumne County, California. Watch out who you vote for. There are confirmed facts that Jaron Brandon and the other board members have not posted the mandated surety bonds or even taken the proper oath of office, including the loyalty oath mandated by the California Constitution, Article 20, Section 3.
In measured hundredweight and penny pound.
The public records from the Tuolumne County Recorder's Office and the State of California Governor's Office, the Secretary of State and the California Judicial Council along with the State Supreme Court have all conceded to the fact that no officer in the county or the entire state of California, from Gavin Newsom and the Chief Justice all the way to each county official and state judge, including the entire Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors, which includes Jaron Brandon.
Jaron Brandon and his partner and fellow board member, Ryan Campbell, were caught on video throwing down satanic Masonic hand signs at board meetings.
Funny guy, you're a good kid. And that's how I operate. And I have a lot of friends. I even have a family member who is gay and a witch. Right? So don't think that I'm not aware of this.
All right, you guys, I'm giving you an update. It's January 15th. We put out a video a couple weeks ago, and it got 666 hits and 33 likes. And I'm going to show you a video from 2010 when Christine O'Donnell was running for Senate, and she had to explain that she wasn't a witch. And many of you will remember that. So Jaron Brandon has started his campaign having to explain that he's not a Mason or not flashing hand signs, even though he is. And I'm going to show that the record shows that he is, because he is a member of a fraternity. And immediately I'm going to show you a clip. Watch out for this guy.
Silence can only be equated with fraud where there is a legal or moral duty to speak, or where any inquiry left unanswered would be intentionally misleading.
Good morning to the County of Tuolumne Corporation. I'm John Flynn, your political watchdog. Take a bite out of crime. You're all crooks anyways. So, we have Jaron Brandon and Ryan Campbell. You two were at a special board meeting September 25th, 2023. And Jaron Brandon and Ryan Campbell, you're both throwing down satanic hand signs, triangles. And after the meeting, after I get through talking, I hope you can address this. And Jaron Brandon, your bio states you belong to both Alpha Tau Omega and Sigma Chi, whatever. They have Masonic roots, as do many other fraternities. Can you confirm or deny, after I'm speaking, any affiliations with the Freemasons or any other group that requires a secret oath? Now, this all can be backed up with Robben has a Facebook called Tuolumne County Scandal. Check it out. That's Facebook. Okay. Now, Jaron Brandon, you had an opportunity to clarify your writing down your hand signs at Ryan Campbell. And Robben's got a website called, on Facebook, called Tuolumne County Scandals. Check it out. And there's going to be a new posting today.
Big Duke 6, this is 713. The jet stream by now, there you got about 30 seconds on station. Get your people back and head down. This is going to be a big one.
Son, nothing else in the world smells like that. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. You know, one time we had a hail bomb for 12 hours. When it was all over, I woke up. We didn't find one of them, not one stinking dink body. Smell, you know that gasoline smell? The whole hill. Smelled like victory.
This item. As you know, many areas celebrate very festive and engaging Pride months and celebrations that I think are positive, but also recognize a history that hasn't always been positive. So watching an interview just recently talking about a time, it was with a federal employee, about how they couldn't not only just lead their department, but before, had they been identified as a member of the LGBT community, they couldn't have held a job in government and in the federal government. Luckily, we've come a long way from there. I think this is an important moment for Tuolumne County to recognize this community that has been here since the beginning. And it may be something we talk a lot more about at a national level, but they've always been around. They were here when it was founded. They were here when the nation was founded. They've always been a part of the history. And as an ally to that community, and to anybody not familiar with that term, that is somebody that wants to ensure these are people that have the same rights and responsibilities and respect afforded to everybody else under the Constitution, to be able to make sure that they're treated as people and that they are, I think, given that same level of respect. Anyway, I want to say that we as community leaders, it should be always a goal of ours to be able to model, I think, acceptance and tolerance in the kind of community that we want to live in. And the community that I would like to live in is one that accepts everybody and celebrates everybody. We do know that this is an issue.
Get ready, everybody. He's about to do something stupid.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, gentlemen, but you seem to have me confused with a character in a fictional show. Now, if you'll excuse me, my fondue is just about...
In the middle right now. In the middle right now. In the middle right now. In the middle. In the middle right now. 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 In the middle.
So, okay. With that being said, I will look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll say, at least in my view, I don't believe it's a social issue. I think these are people.
Hey, gay, guy, gay, how much watch on your switch?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay.
But I do appreciate the comments trying to bridge what I think is sometimes a divide in the community. With that, I wanted to make the motion to approve of the resolution recognizing June 2022 as LGBTQ Pride Month, and further resolving that the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors encourages and supports First Amendment rights, social and community benefits of annual Pride events.
And your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200-something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer and explorer. Going into space.
Second. All right. I have a first by Supervisor Brandon and a second by Supervisor Campbell, and we do have to do
a point of clarification on this. I think it would be really helpful to be able to quickly read the language too, at your recommendation when that may be appropriate, if it's before or after the vote.
Okay, let's do the roll call vote, and then I'll have you read it. Okay, so roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Goldenberg?
Aye.
Supervisor Campbell?
Aye.
Supervisor Kirk?
No.
Supervisor Half?
Aye.
Supervisor Brandon?
Aye.
All right, motion passes 4-0. Supervisor Kirk, no vote. First by Supervisor Brandon, second by Supervisor Campbell. And Supervisor Brandon, would you please read your resolution?
Great. Here we go. Thank you again for being here. I don't know if we should switch up the seats, because I feel like if everybody got a chance to talk and listen in this, we'd be able to learn something with it from everybody. So reading this, the resolution of the Board of Supervisors of the County of Tuolumne. Whereas the members of the Board of Supervisors, the governing body of the County of Tuolumne, do hereby unite in solidarity and common purpose to recognize, honor, and celebrate the diversity, shared humanity, and civil rights of our entire community and all its residents. And whereas each of us should be able to live without fear of prejudice, discrimination, violence, or hatred based on our race, gender identity, or sexual orientation. And whereas the Tuolumne County community includes people of all ages and races who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, and should be protected by the same unalienable American equal rights, benefits, and responsibilities that are shared and enjoyed by all. And whereas embracing and celebrating our individual identities and those as Americans furthers the cause of bringing people together as one united community, and whereas embracing our differences and celebrating our diversity fulfills the principles and creed written into the founding documents of our great nation.
What the fuck did you just say to me, little motherfucker? Say it!
Responsibilities that are shared and enjoyed by all. And whereas embracing and celebrating our individual identities and those as Americans furthers the cause of bringing people together as one united community, and whereas embracing our differences and celebrating our diversity fulfills the principles and creed written into the founding documents of our great nation.
Alexa, look up the word creed, please. Creed.
Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines the word creed as follows: a brief authoritative formula of religious belief and a set of fundamental belief, a guiding principle.
Jaron Brandon and the other board members are grossly incorrect about the word creed having been written. The founding constitution had anything to do with gay rights. That is a bunch of bullshit.
Community has those rights. You also have the First Amendment rights. And when it comes to bullying, which I think a lot of this is about, the bullying and all that stuff, I don't think anybody in their right mind would wish any bullying or any mean spirit towards anybody, no matter what you identify as or who you sleep with or any of that. But I'm also realistic in the fact that my kids, they get bullied for things all the time. There are things in society that, unfortunately, government can't control and people can't control, and it's up to us as people to be centered and to be thoughtful and to be respectful and to live by the golden rule, which, just like Jesus said, love one another. And I will remind everybody in this audience that Jesus is the greatest gentleman of them all because he's the one who gave us free will and free choice. He doesn't force anything on anybody. To me, what this is about is asking me as a board member to celebrate and to embrace something that is a social issue that is very divisive. I'm not going to go into a lot of details as to why I believe some of the things I do and why I have the opinions the way I do, but this puts me in a really, I'll just say, shitty situation, because if I don't sign this resolution, and Tom, I've known you since I was, 18 years old? Columbia College, I never treated you different. I knew who you were back then. Always included you, coffee. You were a funny guy. You were a good kid. And that's how I operate. And I have a lot of friends. I even have a family member who is gay and a witch. Right? So don't think that I'm not aware of this. But what this is doing is this putting me in a situation, you guys, where I have to say that I have to celebrate and embrace something that I don't necessarily agree with, and for good reason. And I hate that I have to come out and give some reason and some logic to say that, because I don't want to do that. I would rather go out to you with Tom and talk about what we agree on and be friends and the agreeances. But when it comes to this social issue, it's like, well, some people, the actual act of making us sign this is not inclusion in and of itself. We should celebrate that there's other opinions and there's diversity of opinions when it comes to this subject. I just wish the subject didn't have to be handled at a county level. I don't think government, kind of like Cruz said, I don't think government should be a part of this conversation. And Andy, you actually said it. You said to have another opinion is un-American. That right there is exclusion in and of itself. For me to have another opinion saying that I'm un-American, you're actually doing exactly what you're fighting for or fighting against. So I want the LGBTQ community to know that I may not celebrate or embrace what you do, but with Christ in my heart, I love you guys for you being human beings on this earth. Okay? I support your individual liberties to pursue life, liberty, and happiness how you want. But don't put me in the situation where I have to sign saying that I embrace it fully and I celebrate it. And I'm not saying it in a mean-spirited way. I just want you to hear my heart on it, okay? So I know I'm outvoted, so I'm going to call for a vote, but I will vote no on this resolution. However, I do support diversity. I do recognize humanity and civil rights. So if we wanted to take out the LGBTQ and the pride portion of this, I would support diversity. I would support humanity, civil rights across all peoples, and I would be willing to sign a resolution like that. So, all right, enough of that. And if any one of you in your community would like to come out and go have coffee with me, I'd take that up in a heartbeat.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County of Tuolumne Board of Supervisors hereby recognizes the month of June 2022 as LGBTQ Pride Month, so that we may join together in celebrating our diversity and community. And be it finally resolved that the County of Tuolumne Board of Supervisors also encourages and supports the First Amendment rights and social and community benefits of annual Pride events within the community. And with that, congratulations everybody in the room, and thank you everybody for attending.
Hey, ladies, how's it hanging?
I'm gonna say something to him. I just wanted to let you know I'm your biggest fan, and I will be cheering my jailhouse boobies off for you at game day.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Paul, I appreciate you.
Okay, thanks. I'm glad to know that.
I could whip it up, fix you up straight away. Come on in the front door, leaving at the back door.
What are you, fucking gay? We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr? Sure. Pepe Julian Onzima. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good morning.
Me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay. You are a transgender.
What shows that I'm gay?
You are a transgender, yes, and you're a gay rights activist and an outspoken lesbian, homosexual. How can I describe you? Now, we're looking at the raging debate. You're a gay rights activist. Why should someone be gay? You're having a girlfriend.
Yes.
Do you perform the natural obligations?
I'm not sexually active right now.
So what are you doing with this lady?
By choice.
By choice?
Yeah. I've just not, I've chosen not to engage.
Doesn't that make you gay?
What do you mean, doesn't that make me gay? I am male and attracted to a female.
So who is gay?
I'm gay. Let me hear you say I pity the fool. Come on, man. Do you know how many times I've been asked to say that? Well, no more. I'm through. I'm never gonna say those stupid words again. I pity the fool.
Pointing out that there's an assumption that we are increasing his time. You've got your dipstick in the wrong hole. Absolutely. This is why you are getting a wrong reading.
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member.
I think we have been unparliamentary. There is no.
Today we celebrate the first of many diversity forums.
I'm here on behalf of the Hetch Hetchy employees who came to you guys asking to uphold their civil rights when they were under pressure to take a shot when they had been denied their religious exemption. My husband couldn't be here, but he was one of them. The wording of the resolution includes civil rights, so why are they so important now and not then? And I also have a message from one of the other people that were here asking you to uphold their civil rights. Her name's Gina. She said, I wish I could be there to ask Jaron why the civil rights of the LGBTQ community is more worthy of this backing and support than those of us who were discriminated against at Hetch Hetchy for our religious beliefs. I would like to know the criteria for his favor. I'm not nor against the LGBTQ community having the support of the community in which they reside. They don't deserve to be ridiculed and discriminated against. Neither did I. I wonder if he realizes what the rainbow truly symbolizes. Does he and the rest of this community that support this initiative realize that the Bible tells us that God sent Noah a rainbow as a reminder of the promise that he made to never flood the earth again, to never impose his will in such a destructive manner? That is what the rainbow symbolizes. So now go ahead and paint my town with rainbow ribbons for a month. Do it for the year. Do it for eternity. Because I know exactly what the rainbow symbolizes. God's undying, unconditional, everlasting love for all of his children. Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to speak a little bit on this resolution, and I know it might make a lot of people upset, but I feel I have to speak my mind. This resolution, I think, probably cost a lot of money and time to create, when the county could have been working on, building roads and actually, helping with the people of the county. And the thing that I don't like about this is that they're having LGBTQ Pride Month. You want to make, a whole month saying for LGBTQ. But at the same time, you don't have a married couples day. You don't have anything like that. So why is the county starting to promote sexuality at all? Like, why do you guys even have to be talking about that? Because it seems pretty crazy. We've been seeing a lot of, commercials on Pride Month and stuff like that. It's been in our faces. Everybody sees it. I don't know. I just think it's crazy. And especially it's a complete oxymoron if you're not having it for married people. Married people can't have a day. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I just don't like it. And I think you guys should vote no, because it's just something bad, in my opinion.
Hi! Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate.
Good morning. Here we go. Years ago, my brother Vincent, a homosexual man, died at 29 years of age of AIDS. His partner had died shortly before him. I was there for both of their deaths. I loved my brother, and I know a few things about him and this lifestyle. I can say with all certainty that he would have never wanted the government involved in his life. Another distant relative, a gay brother-in-law, a popular playwright and performer, and a registered libertarian, recently moved from New York to Montana to get away from the government's prying. The American system of government was established to provide limited government. The independent existence of the United States was based on certain truths: that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. We are not a communist country. Communism, totalitarianism, requires a few things to exist: power, propaganda, and scapegoating. People who understand the American Revolution's break from the power and propaganda by the tyrants of the centuries past would have never requested government to be involved in their lives. They would never be here today begging for the government to be involved in their lives. If you understand the writings of the Constitution and the freedom-giving concepts contained within them, no one sitting here in the bench in front of me, nor the people in the audience, would request government involvement in their lives. If this pleading by this group for government involvement is pushed, those who understand the basic tenets of freedom are left to ask why. Is it a power grab? Is it a push to maintain propaganda? And will those who oppose it be called names and used as scapegoats when all they want is limited government? Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to start out saying that I've got no animosity, but I believe this is an unnecessary, divisive. I want to give just two quick perspectives that I thought of while I was sitting up here. One would be from the atheist evolutionist. In that camp, only the species that are able to procreate easily and in good quantity enough to keep that species going are able to survive. It's Darwinian species. It's not a genetic thing. It's a chosen lifestyle. That being said, there's another perspective. Bible-believing Christians believe it to be an act of disobedience. God calls it in the Bible an abomination, and it defiles the land. The difference between the two, they both come up to the same conclusion that this is not a natural act, is that the Bible explains it. We were once a nation who believed in God, but in Romans 1, it says, although they knew God, they refused to glorify him, and neither were they thankful. Therefore, God gave them up to trying to think of the right words, but basically a mind that is against God, and they use their bodies for unnatural acts, one man after another. So those are two perspectives coming from different camps, and I know there's many other perspectives here, which makes this a very divisive. And we pledged allegiance, we said indivisible. Actually, we said indivisible under God. I would encourage you all not to pass this resolution. Thank you.
I would like to question the need for this resolution. On June 2nd, 2022, Governor Newsom proclaimed June as LGBTQ Pride Month for California. What purpose does it serve to add a resolution at the county level? As has been pointed out, people in the LGBTQ community are already protected by strong civil rights laws. Yes, strong civil rights laws. Will this resolution add any strength to those laws? The faith community continues to express their love for the eternal souls and spirits of all people. Will the resolution increase that level of compassion? There are many people who think this resolution is over the top and unnecessary. These are hardworking people with day jobs, family-oriented people with concerns. Some people feel too intimidated to express their concerns. Some fear being doxxed. Some are just numb and demoralized. Does this resolution truly represent all people in Tuolumne County? Many people are libertarian in their thinking. As long as what a person is doing doesn't affect me, then it's okay. However, parents are increasingly concerned about promotion of the LGBTQ agenda and how it is sexualizing their children at inappropriate ages. Parents are concerned about physical alteration of children's reproductive organs, thereby permanently sterilizing them. In a medical world which is supposed to do no harm, great physical harm is being inflicted. A large number of these young victims will not grasp the impact until years later. Young children should be allowed to grow up without having sexuality shoved in their faces, altering their thinking and their bodies forever. How is this resolution preserving the innocence of children? In this country, we already have more rights than in any other country in the world. Instead of focusing so much on demanding rights, how about we focus on virtue and responsibility and not just living for our own selfish desires? Bottom line, will this resolution serve to bring our community together, or will it cause more division? Thank you.
The reason people come from the Bay Area to move to Tuolumne County and the foothills is to get away from the big city. Political manipulation, heavy taxation, leftist public schools, Marxist propaganda, violent gangs pushing drugs and crimes, exacerbating acts of racism by accusing others who are not racists. And now the LGBTQ organization is attempting to force the rest of us here in Tuolumne County to believe that their sexual behavior defines the person. But it doesn't. An average citizen of this county, as an average citizen of this county, we don't force our beliefs on others, but this LGBTQ organization does. And it won't be happy until everyone believes just the same way as they do. Our community is fair and indiscriminate with people's choices, providing the same protections that the law provides for every person in Tuolumne County. This is not about gays being discriminated against. Gay rights in California are applauded and pampered with overwhelming protection and advantages than, say, white Christian Caucasian men that are being denigrated, vilified, discriminated against, even with violence in some cases. I respect anyone who chooses their own lifestyle. They have their right and that freedom. But the laws of our Constitution were never designed to protect and promote politically favored groups and factions. They were created to protect the individual from those who are in illicit power. This resolution is not about equal rights for all. It's about cultural conformity and submission. It's about dominance and control over the thoughts and ideas of independent thinking. My request to this board is that you stand up for what's right and not for what is expedient.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. When I graduated from high school, I had a friend. Kevin and I were great buddies. We went through high school together, graduated together, traveled up and down the coast of California, camping, singing at the top of our lungs to cassette tapes in his little Subaru car, visiting his sister up in Eureka. And one day Kevin asked me what I thought about the homosexual lifestyle. I told him, well, I thought it was wrong. That was the end of our relationship because I could not accept him as a homosexual or what he was doing. He could not be with me or accept me anymore. I never told Kevin, you're out of my life, buddy. I told him, Kevin, I don't understand why you want to do that, but you're my friend. This is the problem with this resolution. You're saying that it's okay to endorse and celebrate something that is basically about a social interaction of these Americans, something that is basically sexual interaction of these Americans, that you're celebrating that with them. You're saying that the whole county celebrates that with them. And that's not true. The whole county does not agree that celebrating these social interactions and these physical sexual interactions is okay. It's not okay. I encourage you to vote no on this resolution.
My name is Andy Merrill. I'd like to remind everyone that there was a point in time where it was illegal for a person of color and a white person to be married. Used to be illegal. Women used to not have the right to vote. Slavery used to be a thing in this country. We still talk about them. Why? Because it's important to remember where we came from and the struggles that our own citizens have endured in order to secure the rights that they are entitled to by God, whoever, their mother, our creator. We talk a lot about the Constitution. No one seems to bring up the First Amendment, the right to freedom of speech and by association freedom of expression. This is actually limiting the government to not take a position favoring one group over another. And by Tuolumne County coming out and recognizing that people in the LGBTQ community have just the exact same rights as anyone else, I think should be applauded. It's necessary, just as we recognize the struggles to overcome slavery and bigotry in this country. This is the exact same thing. These are our people. These are our citizens. These are our neighbors. I applaud Gabe. I've been on both sides of the bullying equation. I used to say before I understood how hurtful some of my comments could be were to members of that community. And since then, through my own education, I will be the first one to stand up here and support them. I hope you all do as well. Again, to have any other opinion is, to me, completely un-American. you should not be judged how you choose, based on how you choose to express yourself. And I believe all members of the Board of Supervisors are sworn to uphold the oath of the Code of Ethics to treat everyone equally. And I see this resolution as a acknowledgement of, yes, like that is our job. That is the point of government, to treat everyone equally under the law. Not everyone is a Christian. Government can't endorse one religion versus another. Just because, I stand here as not a Christian male, you don't favor me. You don't treat me differently because I'm not a Christian, just as you shouldn't treat someone differently how they choose to express their love, their sexual identity. That's my time. I think it's reprehensible to have a view other than supporting our own people and respecting our First Amendment rights.
Good morning. My name's Andrea Victoria, and I'm a new transplant to your community. And I stand proudly with the LGBTQ plus community, and I applaud you all for taking the time to listen. All of you here. I accept that everyone has a right to their own opinion. The pain of growing up, coming out, or staying hidden is palatable. This resolution is nothing more than a statement from you as board members that you will not tolerate any type of pain for one, yet alone many, of your constituents, of your community members. This resolution is just. This resolution is right. This resolution is necessary. I said in a recent speech at Pride, hope and history are sisters. One looks forward and the other looks back.
Resident of Tuolumne County. I coach multiple youth programs. I'm on the YSF board, and most of my efforts are for the kids of this community. As we reflect on this past weekend, it was Father's Day, but there was also a Pride picnic downtown Sonora. I did drive by. I did not observe. It seemed like a good event. I didn't see any opposition, protesting, nor did I see anybody being harmed. I cannot speak on behalf of that community. I didn't see anybody living in fear or being scared. I represent a young parent group who is now awake in this community. We're watching and we're listening. We want to make sure that your goals that you set forth are being prioritized and campaign promises are being made. This resolution seems like a little bit of a distraction and a reason to divide our county and not unify it. It appears to be a cultural trend and not something at the heart of your responsibilities. And I just don't understand why government should celebrate someone's sexuality in the open like this. Until our veterans and our first responders, both alive and deceased, they get a month dedicated to them, I don't think any other group should necessarily get that same month or a month in general. But I don't want to present just problems. I would like to present a solution because I do support choice. I do support everybody having the freedom to live one's lives. I have family, I have friends, I have coworkers, clients that I adore that are part of the LGBTQ plus community. What about a day? Like veterans have a day, laborers have a day, Jesus Christ has a day. Could we have a day to support this community? They are protected by the same civil rights that I have, both you have, and everybody within this great nation has. And I just fear that this is a large-scale, media-led, corporate-led, sports team-led month that has already been proclaimed by Governor Newsom, like Mr. Kirk said earlier. I do have a 10-year-old daughter. Taking up this entire month, just consider that it will also bleed into the end of school year. What impact does that place on the young minds in the schools within this community? That is my biggest focus. I know as a young parent, And what does that do? How does that convolute their education? They already deal with, maybe it's bullying and COVID and social media pressures and other things like that. How does this help or hurt them? I'm not quite sure. I would please ask you to vote no on this resolution and instead look to move forward and maybe make it a day that they can celebrate and we can join them in that. But let's get back to making this such a beautiful place that generations of families have put their blood, sweat, and tears into to make it a desirable place to move to. A desirable place for our board members to move to and some of the people speaking today. And I just don't want to lose sight of that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, I'm going to close the public comment portion of this item. So I'm going to take it back. Anything else, Supervisor Brandon?
And a couple of the speakers mentioned it is difficult to make it here on a Tuesday and be able to speak. So I want to say thank you to everybody that has come in and participated to this. For some of the folks who may have concerns with this resolution, I would ask if you've read it. I know that's kind of a silly question. If you go through what the clauses of what this is talking about, it is saying that as an American people, we have celebrated diversity and inclusion as ideals of our country. And being a place where people, regardless of their creed and convictions, could be able to make a life. It talks about this community as having the same rights, responsibilities, and respect that we would hope to afford each other as neighbors. That is what it talks about. It spends a few paragraphs being able to talk about that. I don't believe that's pushing any agenda. I believe that is saying that we should, as the Constitution and the founding documents of our country, maybe at the beginning didn't quite achieve, but did certainly lay out a path towards the equal rights and protection of all people as neighbors. So we're one community. I'm very proud to introduce this. I think the main thing we've taken time is to be able to hear from you, and that's extremely important. Not a lot of resources went into this because this is something that is simply recognizing the community. It's recognizing a holiday here to these people in the room that this does mean a lot to. It does mean, I think, a huge thing. It doesn't say that every day this month, if and upon the moment of passage, everybody has to put out a flag, everybody has to attend every event, all the curriculum changes. What it means is they're recognized. That's it. We do this for many of the groups that have been mentioned. Why would we bring a resolution to the table here? We do that for Domestic Violence Awareness Day, not because that's a policy change, but because that is bringing to light issues about that. It's bringing attention to it. We do celebrate National Peace Officer Memorial Day for fallen deputies. Why? Because it's important to recognize that sacrifice. We do celebrate days of those with different racial makeups, identities in the past. We celebrate a number of resolutions. Probably a lot of them have passed and you may not have noticed. You may not be a member of those communities. That may have been something on an agenda you weren't able to attend here. This is a normal course of business. I'm very proud to have this and I'm proud of everybody that showed up too. And I do respect everybody's right to have an opinion on this and I appreciate you coming in and expressing that. I do disagree as far as I think some of the points that were brought up with it. But it's not trying to change anybody's mind. It's not trying to say you have to have this idea. It's simply saying it's okay for this other community to have a different idea of what's right and what's moral and be able to live with, I think, without feeling fear of discrimination. And one last closing point, and I think Andy was the one that had mentioned it. I grew up in this community. I was born and raised. I remember an elementary school and a high school environment that was very toxic to queer people. Very casual and indiscriminate use of toxic language, which to the LGBT community, I mean, the equivalent of the N-word thrown around, whether it was video games, whether it was classrooms. I remember that there were gay members of that class. They struggled intensely with bullying. I've had people that I think had tried to apply that to me, even though I'm not a member of that community, based on what they thought I looked like or acted like or talked like as a kid. And that had led to bullying, even though that's not something that had applied. So it is impossible to deny that there is that out there. It's widely recognized that that is the ramifications of, I think, if not acceptance, tolerance of other people. So to me, this is meaningful to be able to bring this forward. With that, I return it to you, Mr. Chairman, and the rest of the board.
You also have the First Amendment rights. And when it comes to bullying, which I think a lot of this is about, the bullying and all that stuff, I don't think anybody in their right mind would wish any bullying or any mean spirit towards anybody, no matter what you identify as or who you sleep with or any of that. But I'm also realistic in the fact that my kids, they get bullied for things all the time. There are things in society that, unfortunately, government can't control and people can't control, and it's up to us as people to be centered and to be thoughtful and to be respectful and to live by the golden rule, which, just like Jesus said, love one another. And I will remind everybody in this audience that Jesus is the greatest gentleman of them all because he's the one who gave us free will and free choice. He doesn't force anything on anybody. To me, what this is about is asking me as a board member to celebrate and to embrace something that is a social issue that is very divisive. I'm not going to go into a lot of details as to why I believe some of the things I do and why I have the opinions the way I do, but this puts me in a really, I'll just say, shitty situation because if I don't sign this resolution, and Tom, I've known you since I was, 18 years old? Columbia College, I never treated you different. I knew who you were back then. Always included you, coffee. You were a funny guy. You were a good kid. And that's how I operate. And I have a lot of friends. I even have a family member who is gay and a witch. Right? So don't think that I'm not aware of this. But what this is doing is this putting me in a situation, you guys, where I have to say that I have to celebrate and embrace something that I don't necessarily agree with, and for good reason. And I hate that I have to come out and give some reason and some logic to say that, because I don't want to do that. I would rather go out to you with Tom and talk about what we agree on and be friends and the agreeances. But when it comes to this social issue, it's like, well, some people, the actual act of making us sign this is not inclusion in and of itself. We should celebrate that there's other opinions and there's diversity of opinions when it comes to this subject. I just wish the subject didn't have to be handled at a county level. I don't think government, kind of like Cruz said, I don't think government should be a part of this conversation. And Andy, you actually said it. You said to have another opinion is un-American. That right there is exclusion in and of itself. For me to have another opinion saying that I'm un-American, you're actually doing exactly what you're fighting for or fighting against. So I want the LGBTQ community to know that I may not celebrate or embrace what you do, but with Christ in my heart, I love you guys for you being human beings on this earth. Okay? I support your individual liberties to pursue life, liberty, and happiness how you want. But don't put me in the situation where I have to sign saying that I embrace it fully and I celebrate it. And I'm not saying it in a mean-spirited way. I just want you to hear my heart on it, okay? So I know I'm outvoted, so I'm going to call for a vote, but I will vote no on this resolution. However, I do support diversity. I do recognize humanity and civil rights. So if we wanted to take out the LGBTQ and the pride portion of this, I would support diversity. I would support humanity, civil rights across all peoples, and I would be willing to sign a resolution like that. So,
Climate Action Plan. Blowback in Tuolumne County as residents protest the Board of Supervisors' efforts to quash economic development, destroy cattle ranchers, and preclude future wood stoves, all under the guise of climate change. The Board of Supervisors completely ignored the local constituents who made financial connections to the United Nations, and John Buckley from the CSR-ERC in Twain Harte, California. The board ignores the facts that geo-engineering is the root cause of the problems.
That's right, Sally. Geoengineering is a big problem into all of Meade County, California. Some residents spoke out about the geo-engineering, also called man-made weather modification, or even chemtrails to some.
Well, I am a chemtrail cowboy, love spraying all day long, emptying my tanks on you while I sing this song. There's too many of you down there, that's what I've been told. You're off to meet your maker before you get too old. Yes, I'm a chemtrail cowboy, proud of what I do. Well, I couldn't care less for my family, and I don't give a fuck about you.
There is actually a weather modification contract for the use of chemicals over the sky over Tuolumne County, and the Board of Supervisors is aware and does nothing about it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Pat Haley. I live in Twain Harte and have for 7 years. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Climate Action Plan, or actually what is, I think, a lot more important than the Climate Action Plan. I don't know how you can even address climate action without looking at the elephant in the sky, which is geoengineering. Lyndon Baines Johnson said back in the 60s, we have the ability to control the weather, and he who controls the weather controls the world.
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
How many are finally beginning to ask themselves what's wrong with the weather? First report from APnews.com. U.S. in deep freeze while much of the world is extra toasty. And then the report says, yet again.
If you haven't seen it, it's just hard to believe that you haven't looked up and seen the geoengineered skies almost every day. The stripes, the spraying, the sky starts out blue, it turns gray. This weather is manipulated and manufactures over our skies every single day. This drought that we have is man-made. There's a high pressure zone off the eastern part of the Pacific, off our western shores. They create high pressure and then steer the storms right around us. Spray the skies, they turn into clouds, they spray desiccant over the top, and then steer them with this manipulated high and low pressure zones. And then it's hard to believe that a lot of people haven't seen or just don't understand this. I've got lots of flyers and research and data that I'd be happy to share with you. You remember in Texas, I think it was earlier this year, there was a 5-degree weather, the windmills gave out, millions of people without power. Pardon me. That was a 10-mile by 100-mile wide swath of cold air that was sprayed and parked there. They claim it came out of the Gulf of Mexico. There's no air like that in the Gulf of Mexico. And then they do what they call chemically isonucleate. They spray over the top of it, right, with various chemicals, creating this cold, and this so-called snow or hail fall to the ground. 50 degrees we see it right here, 50 degrees on the ground, 15-degree ice falling right on top of us. What they're spraying, they're nanochemicals, and by the way, the Department of Food and Ag doesn't test for nanochemicals. So what we call organic gardens, not really. They spray aluminum, barium, strontium, graphene, and others. It's changing the pH of the forest. It's dramatically affecting the fires here in all over the western United States. They dry out the air, spray these chemicals, and we're here breathing it. It's in our air column. And, well, at any rate, it's this climate action plan. Let me just wrap it up with this. That is part of the Agenda 21 2030 plan, and that's governance, not government. There's a big difference. Governance by the World Health Organization and the UN, and they're going to tell us what to do. So we're giving up our country's sovereignty to them, and you as a county are giving up our county sovereignty by buying into this bogus program, the way I see it. Thanks.
Pat, thank you very much.
All right, everybody, it's November 27th, 7:15 p.m. I've got a quick update for you. So, as you all know, I found out that there were weather modification, cloud seeding experiments happening over our heads during the months that we had some crazy hail, major storming, and flooding. And what I learned is that not only did FEMA come out to camp out in our Rockefeller-funded Resilience Center in Tuolumne County, and they offered people loans to support them after the storm, right? Loans, another banking scam. But then I found out that the county was claiming damages, and they are currently in the process of filling out their 4699 forms because we had a declared disaster, right? So I have written to my Board of Supervisors, and I asked very specific questions about how much have you claimed in damages to county property? Were you aware of this weather modification project? Here's the collaboration. Here are the contacts. And I asked those sorts of questions. I can share screenshots or put the text in the comments below. So I got a response from Dory Beetz, B-I-E-T-Z. And she is the Tuolumne County, she's the Office of Emergency Services Assistant Director. Okay? We're filing now. We don't really have the totals yet. And we're in the process. And there were administrative costs to coordinate FEMA's efforts. And those are eligible costs that are part of a reimbursement request.
Hi, my name is Maria Horat, and I'm a concerned citizen here in Northern California in the Sierra Foothills area. And here in Tuolumne County, there is a small but growing group of concerned citizens who are extremely worried about what's taking place with this latest attack on our freedom, which is something called the Climate Action Plan that the Board of Supervisors is wanting to implement in our county. I'm originally from Venezuela. I have been living here in the US for all my adult life. And I've seen aspects of these tyrannical efforts taking place over there, where it was a very prosperous country for some time, and then it turned into a communist regime, totally destroyed. So today I'm joined by Marc Malone, and he's an English-born American philosopher, entrepreneur, political activist, and counter-theorist on the science of social engineering, founder of America 21, an anti-globalist organization that seeks to undo UN initiatives that erode basic rights and return state and national sovereignty to the people. Thank you, Marc, for joining us today.
Thank you, Maria. Appreciate you. And it's very interesting that you come from Venezuela, because often people in America don't really realize what they have, right? And then sometimes an outsider coming in can see it more, because that's often how I feel too, even though I come from what was a relatively free country for most of my life up until recently. But when you come in, you can kind of see clearly, it's just like, wait a minute, this is crazy. This is supposed to be the bastion of freedom for the world. And now I'm coming in, I'm seeing it going like everywhere else. So I think it's a good perspective you have.
And definitely here in California, of course, a lot of people think we have no hope here, but I like to think that the more we get involved, at a local level, we can make a difference and hopefully turn it for the best. Because I believe the greatest problem has been the lack of interest that people have, because they have it, so good. They're not getting involved in what's happening. So Can you light a little bit of common sense on this whole thing? And we need some encouragement here in this part of the world, in California, as to what to do and what the climate action plan is, where it's coming from. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so before I get into it, I want to share some slides with you guys to show you exactly how this works. So we've discussed them, and I've discussed them with your group before. Yes. But before I get into it, let me just explain that there is hope anywhere. Anywhere where there's good people, there's hope. This is the important thing to understand, and it's where most of us have gone wrong. I often get criticized by people that are against globalism and the onslaught of totalitarianism that we're seeing. And people often criticize me for saying that, why would you work with any officials, state, county, whatever, city? And I'll always explain to them that there's no problem with any institution. Ultimately, the problem is those that are in the institution, right? Let's look at the founding fathers. So the founding fathers did not tear down the structures that were there. See, Congress already existed. It was created by the English people that were already here. It wasn't created post 1776. What they did is they replaced the people within the system to be a system that is based on America only, as opposed to one that is based on the British Empire. But the institutions, the systems were built by the English people that were already here, who then became Americans. So when we take that same concept, it's important for us to not just want to tear everything down. Often people will say, look, it just got to all come down. But America's never been that. That's not the revolution that we had. The revolution we had was a revolution of changing the way the system works. That type of revelation, I guess it is a revelation in a sense. That type of revolution is really more of a Eastern communist Marxist type revolution. The Bolshevik Revolution, where they tore everything down and murdered 100 million people. And the same in Mao's China, the same in Pol Pot's Cambodia, the same, to be honest, to some degree in the liberal, quote unquote, French Revolution. Right. They tear everything down, they murder a bunch of people, and then they build something new. That's not the Western way. That's not the American way, especially. So what we're trying to do here is completely in line with the law, the real law, the supreme law of the land, which is, of course, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. So what we're doing is just taking the institution that actually works, but just trying to replace people within that institution, because government, a corporation, merely just a vehicle. It is who manages the vehicle that makes it either good or bad. That applies to a gun, that applies to a car, right? If you drive a car with a DUI, you can cause some serious problems. If you drive a car sober, you can go from one destination to the next. So I want to preface what we're going to go through with that the institutions aren't a problem, that they have been subverted and parasited off, and we can solve that problem. A final point would be that even though California is sort of the tip of the spear in the American context for this, it's still further behind a lot of the rest of the Western world. The European Union is way further ahead than California is with this project. And of course, places like China are way further ahead even than the European Union. So important for us to understand that it's not too late. And even if, say, San Francisco, it's too late for, and even if it's too late for Los Angeles, there's a lot of great places in California that are not San Francisco and Los Angeles, even though that they control generally the policy. There are lots of great counties around in all the blue states that have a lot of good people. And then what we're going to essentially trying to do is trying to separate the policies. We're not trying to change San Francisco or Los Angeles because that's a losing battle. Yeah. What we're just trying to say is separate ourselves and say, okay, if San Francisco are going to adopt all this climate policy, and we're going to get into just how dangerous that is, it doesn't have to affect us.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. My name's Doug Milbourne. I live up in Newark, and I've lived here since 1987. And I'd like to thank the board for giving me this opportunity to address you. My father joined the Marines when he was 17 years old, went to boot camp, then went to Hawaii for a year, and spent another year on a little island called Wake Island. And 8 hours after Pearl Harbor was struck, a third of the fleet that attacked Pearl attacked Wake. And it became the Alamo of the Pacific. The Japanese thought that they could take the island in 2 to 3 days easy, but the Marines had a different idea. They fought for 14 days with almost no sleep or food, and then surrendered. My father spent 44 months as a guest of the Japanese. He went from 165 pounds to 98. And he fought for this country and for its freedoms. He was proud for that to the day he died. And the reason I'm even here right now is because of a wood stove. My mother was born premature. She was a paternal twin, and the other twin died, causing her mother's body to abort each of the children, the dead and my mother. My grandfather could hold her in his hand. She was so small. And in the middle of winter in Nebraska, They wrapped her in cloth and put her in a shoebox and put her behind the wood stove for the next 3 months. And she survived. I'm here because of a wood stove. And my children, and their children, and their children's children. And one of my grandsons is getting ready to be deployed as a Marine on his last deployment. They fought for these freedoms and they fight for them today. Support those freedoms, I pray. Amen.
Hello, my name is Manny, and I'm an ecologist with CSERC. I appreciate the work that the county has put into addressing recommendations made by the public to revise the Climate Action Plan. Although I would prefer to see the cap stronger, I support this plan and urge you to move it forward. Many Tuolumne County citizens are already doing personal actions and making choices.
Have your attention, please, for the real dog. Brandon, please stand up. I repeat, for the real dog. Brandon, please stand up. I think we have a problem here. I'm dog on Brandon. I'm the real Sadie. Oh, you were the Slim Shady, so just imitating. Come on. I want the real dog. Brandon, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. Japan, cause I'm Jaron Brandon. Yes, I'm the real Sadie. Oh, you were the Slim Shady, so just imitating. So I'm the real dog. Brandon, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? For the real dog, Brandon, please stand up. I repeat, for the real dog, Brandon, please stand up. I think we have a problem here. I'm dog on Brandon. I'm the real Sadie. Oh, you were the Slim Shady, so just imitating. Come on. So I'm the real dog, Brandon, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. Japan, cause I'm Jaron Brandon. Yes, I'm the real Sadie. Oh, you were the Slim Shady, so just imitating. So I'm the real dog, Brandon, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up.
I am Jaron Brandon, and I am not a warlock. I am you. I am Jaron Brandon, and I am not a warlock. I am you.
Funny guy. You're a good kid. And that's how I operate. And I have a lot of friends. I even have a family member who is gay and a witch. Right? So don't think that I'm not aware of this.
All right, you guys, I'm giving you an update. It's January 15th. We put out a video a couple weeks ago, and it got 666 hits and 33 likes. And I'm going to show you a video from 2010 when Christine O'Donnell was running for Senate, and she had to explain that she wasn't a witch, and many of you will remember that. So Jaron Brandon has started his campaign having to explain that he's not a Mason or not flashing hand signs, even though he is. And I'm going to show that the record shows that he is, because he is a member of a fraternity. And immediately I'm going to show you a clip that connects them together, and he didn't deny it. And I got a clip from John Flynn at the meeting, at the Board of Supervisors meeting, and we're going to explain all that in a minute.
It's a secret society that exists for the furtherment and betterment of people who are typically looking for either political power or economic wealth, and oftentimes the two go together. But those are the two main things that people are seeking after.
Right. And they have some funky syncretistic theology that is not Christian, was condemned by the Catholic Church a long time ago. I think that was like maybe 1700s or so. But Christians today are consistently speaking out against the Freemasons. I want to ask you a specific question. Fraternities and sororities. Now, I've heard before that there are some kind of Masonic connections. If so, and if there's anything demonic about Masons, then that would indict, I mean, there would be millions of people in just America alone, or I don't know, hundreds of thousands, how many people are in fraternities or sororities, or at least how many have been. I mean, this would be a huge deal. I mean, is there anything to that, Ken?
Yes and no. So some fraternities are like feeder pipelines into the grander Masonic orders. So the big ones that people tend to join are Scottish Rite and York Rite if they're men, and they'd be Order of the Eastern Star, Daughters of Job. There's a couple of others as well, but anyway, for the women. And some of the fraternities on college campuses have connections to the Freemasons. Others do not. My general counsel to people is not, I don't tell people across the board you can't join a fraternity or a sorority, but I do tell them you should investigate what are the linkages and connections, and irrespective of whether they have Freemasonic connections, if they're making you take secret oaths, I would be very wary of that, because a lot of times, notwithstanding that they may not be directly Freemasons, the taking of secret oaths, this is forbidden, not only in the Catholic Church, but I would add, even Jesus said, don't take oaths, right? He says, don't swear. You can't change the hairs on your head. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. Anything other than this comes from the evil one. And so there can be things that are not Freemason that are still resident within some sororities and fraternities, some, not all. So if you're going to do it, you really want to do your due diligence and be sure what you're signing up for and what you're agreeing to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Clip of the week. One of the more interesting Senate races, as was discussed just a minute ago, is in Delaware, and Christine O'Donnell is the Tea Party favorite who won the Republican nomination, who's been fighting a lot of controversy since she won the nomination, not least of which because some people think she was intrigued earlier in her life by witchcraft. She's just launched an ad in which she tries to reintroduce herself to voters, and here's how she's doing it.
I'm not a witch. I'm nothing you've heard. I'm you. None of us are perfect, but none of us can be happy with what we see all around us. Politicians who think spending, trading favors, and backroom deals are the ways to stay in office. I'll go to Washington and do what you do. I'm Christine O'Donnell, and I approve this message. I'm you.
So, Aaron, I'm betting you didn't think a couple months ago we'd be talking about witchcraft in this campaign, did you?
Isn't that a fantastic ad? I'm you has become one of the big memes and taglines of the election already. And the idea that you have to, when you introduce yourself to voters for the first time, you have to assure them that you're not a witch is just pretty fun.
And this is the thing, the Freemasons really present themselves as upstanding citizens, especially in small town America, but like in each hospital, there'll be a chief of staff. That's the term they use.
There you go.
Oftentimes that person will be a Freemason. Many times the people who are the most prominent business people in the town are Freemasons. And many times you'll find that, the mayor, the chief of police, other people like this in prominent roles are Freemasons, and often the local judge will be a Freemason. And again, you'd need to study this a bit to find out, but there's actually a requirement within the Masonic orders that if a brother Mason comes into a judge's courtroom and flashes him the Masonic symbol, no matter what the law says, the judge is required to rule in favor of brother Mason, irrespective of the merits of the case. So it's a secret society that exists for the furtherment and betterment of people who are typically looking for either political power or economic wealth, and oftentimes the two go together. But those are the two main things that people are seeking after.
Right. Freemason, I think maybe the higher up you go, the more oaths you have to take. But you talked about in one of your lectures like a perpetual binding oath on you and former generations that follow after you. Can you just explain the demonic nature of these oaths?
Yeah, when you join the Freemasons, although you usually aren't told all that you're signing up for at the first, you are pledging yourself over to an entity, a spiritual entity, whose name is Jabulon. This is the ruling spirit of Freemasonry. And if you understand, I know you've had Michael Heiser on here, so you understand a bit about principalities and powers and that sort of thing. Well, Jabulon is one of those principalities. But Jabulon is actually an unholy trinity. So in the Christian Trinity, we have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Jabulon is an unholy trinity that was essentially blended together, an amalgamation of three separate gods. One is Jah, which is a shortened form of the word Jehovah. And it's slightly modified as well. So the Jah of Jehovah is the Jah of Jabulon. And so in the Bible, we only work in the King James Bible because we don't use Jehovah anymore, but in the King James translation, we have J-E-H. Jah is J-A-H, but that's the root of it. And the Freemasons are famous for taking things, particularly out of the King James Bible, and incorporating them into their secret oaths and words and passwords. One single example is Isaiah had a son whose name was Maher Shalal Hashbaz. And that was just what his name was. It means swift to the booty and speedy to the prey. And Isaiah was told to name his son that because before he was old enough to realize the good and the bad, the Assyrians would have come and they would have been swift to the plunder and speedy to the prey. Well, the Freemasons have taken that name and turned it into a password or a code word and invested it with a kind of talismanic power. So we have Jah, and then we have Bull. Now, who is Bull? Well, most people who know anything about Christianity have heard of this god named Baal. Usually Americans just say Baal or Baal, but it's B-A-A-L. And so Baal is the Canaanite god of fertility. And so Bull in the Jabulon name, and this is no bull, is spelled B-U-L in that part of the word. But Bull is a modified form of Baal. So now we have this Jah entity who's supposedly, the Lord God Jehovah, mingled with the very God that he hates the most, Baal. And then we have On. Who is On in Jabulon? On is a shortened form of the name Anurus, who was the Egyptian god of war. And so Jabulon is an unholy trinity of some modification of the Jewish god, the Canaanite god, and the Egyptian god. This is the trinity to whom they are swearing allegiance. And as it turns out, and you only learn this much later as you go higher up in the orders, Jabulon is actually a cipher. It's a code name for Satan itself.
Now you mentioned Jabulon. That's in their texts, right? Like that's not like in personal deliverance stories. You had people come up and be like, not I am Legion, but I am Jabulon, and you like exorcise said demon that identified itself. You're saying that the source material from the Freemasons are saying this is the God that we worship.
But you're not going to find this readily because again, these words are held secretly as you move up through the levels. When you first pledge.
All right, brother. You said that you had also Masonic, right?
Well, my career in law enforcement, I actually joined the Brotherhood of Freemasons.
Okay. How'd you get into that?
Man, a lot of cops are involved with that.
Really?
Oh yeah. It is. It's a thing that I'm not saying you must do, but 95% of them do. You know what I mean? Because you have to go through rituals first. Mm-hmm. The first phase is the inner apprentice phase. That's phase one, and you do your rituals. They take you in and they tie a toe to your ankle. Made of
tie a toe.
A toe, yeah, ankle toe. They call it the ankle toe, and it's made out of what do you call it? Get the ones that are like I would say the ones that are really interested and the ones that are clean cut.
Right.
All right. And I'm going to add the devil to this too.
Okay.
Because when you're in the world, you're of the devil. Your father, the devil, right?
Right.
When you don't have God on your mind at all times, from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night, you're of your father, the devil. And I'm just going to say it like that, but I'm going to be bold and honest, Right. I was in the right state of mind then, I had some marital problems, so I felt like this was an outlet for me to get out and have fellowship with other brothers.
Right, because you wasn't getting that with the churches.
I wasn't getting that with the churches back home because, they were preaching prosperity.
Right.
Okay. Give me $1, God gives you 1,000. God doesn't work that way, man. You got to work for, you got to work to eat. So, Nah, don't wait for a handout.
So how long did the first phase last?
See, what they do is they bring you into the temple, and they have the secretary, which is a male. We're all males. There's no female Masons here. I know in Europe, I think they do, not here. Unless you're an Eastern Star, that's different.
Okay.
But the Freemasons, you got the Blue Lodge, which is composed of all different nationalities and backgrounds of Masons, right? To include different religious sets. Hindu, Muslim, whatever. You could be atheist, they don't care. You could be Satan. You could be a devil worshiper. Wow. And they'll bring a devil worshiping Bible right there, satanic Bible, so you could you take the oath. Yeah, they don't care. See, I didn't know that until I started doing more homework on it. Now, what did I get myself into? But
did you ever get that far?
Oh yeah, I became a Master Mason. Okay. I mean, the highest you can go is 33rd. But even at 32nd, see, from the ranks of 30th to 33, which is 3. That's when they divulge the actual truth to you.
I got you.
You know, which they have you in darkness all those years, and then once you start climbing up the rituals and the phases, and you go up the ranks or degrees, right? We call it. You could go from the 3rd degree to the 32nd degree in a weekend.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you could do it in 2 days. They call that the fast track. But usually to get that high, it takes years. Wow. It takes years, but you could do it the other way. You got to pay some money or talk to whoever.
I heard that some people, if I might be mistaken, but I know some of these rich people, these Hollywood people, they give land, millions of dollars.
Oh yeah. It all depends because those are called dues, right?
Okay.
And you talking about occultic, satanic individuals that work in Hollywood. Reverence, of money, of people of power. I didn't know all that. Because when you got scales in your eyes, you can only see so much.
Right.
But when God removes those blinds off your eyes, you start seeing who's who for what they are.
Wow.
And not every Masonic lodge, I mean, they all talk about the same, but everybody's different. Because in order for you to be a Shriner, you got to be a Mason. For you to be a Knights Templar, you got to be a Mason. And the more you go up in that pyramid, and the highest you could go is a Rothschild.
Right.
They're the highest of the highest.
Really?
Yeah, they're the satanic children of Satan.
Wow.
They actually sit on the table and they have a special chair for Satan right there. And he comes and talks to these family members, and they're the ones that the shaking and bakers, I call it.
Now, this all has to do also with those people who go out into the wood and they burn that wooden owl and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, you talking about the Illuminati.
Illuminati, okay. So
right.
This has to do with them.
Oh yeah, you have to be a Freemason to be that. All the presidents were Freemasons.
Okay.
A small portion weren't, but they were Jesuits. This is the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, even the Pope. They don't. And I'm gonna be honest. They don't actually have to do the whole ritual. They have to watch.
Right.
And because of their power and rank within the church.
But it's still controlled by them.
Oh yeah, everything is controlled by the white and black Pope. Yeah. So black and white, which is white and black tiles, is where we have our temple.
That's where you get that.
Yeah, the yin yang. The
right.
good versus evil. You got to have one of the balance. And that's the work of the devil. God doesn't work that way. He doesn't manifest that way. That's all the trick of the devil. The devil knows the Bible better than me and you put together.
Right.
Because he was there when God was putting it together. Mm-hmm. And of course he fell. Of course, but he knows.
Yeah.
He could twist the word of God and make it so clean like honey in your mouth. And say, well, this guy is a man of God. But no, you got to go beyond that, honey.
Right.
You got to go around it and do your research. Because they're going to give themselves up. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys and women, men and women that work in Hollywood, they're all Satanists.
I bet.
All of them are Satanists. And you know what? Anybody could tell me different. I really don't care because I know. Certain hand signs that you do, the pyramid, the rock, Jay-Z calls this the rock. It's a pyramid.
Right.
All right? But in that pyramid, there's 13.
Right. You also got the, what was this?
Well, that's the horns of the devil.
Right.
The devil's horns, yeah. And, that's Illuminati. You could use it for the Shriners use it too. Right. That's the Moloch.
Okay.
Moloch is the actual owl that they worship out in California. All these big shots, big corporations, they go there. And that's where they make the presidents too.
Really?
They make presidents there. They know which president they're going to make. They make them. All this political stuff,
right.
That's just BS. That's bullshit.
What?
That is bullshit. That is the most deceiving thing in America. They know which the Rothschilds makes the presidents. They're trillionaires. They own the world. They own like 90% of the world.
Yeah, and plus, if you have all these superstars and all these
You
actors,
control their puppets.
Well, and not only that, they got the money to buy land.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually, there's going to be one government,
Yes.
or one secret government, should I say, the Illuminati or the Masons,
right,
who will control all this land.
But see, the Masons are the foot soldiers of the Illuminati. You understand the pyramid, right?
Yes, yes.
It's shaped like a triangle, right? So we're at the very bottom.
At the very bottom.
And then above that, you got different families. You know, different. Above that, you got York Rite, Scottish Rites, which are also sets of different branches of Freemasons. And then you go into Knights Templar, and you got,
So
Shriners.
I guess that's where you get the all-seeing eye from.
The all-seeing eye is Lucifer.
Right.
Underneath them is the Rothschilds. Underneath them is the Council of 13. Or the Council of 33. Or 13. No, 13. Underneath them, you got the Council of 33. Underneath them, you got big, different corporations like the CFR.
Wow.
Council of Foreign Relations. And underneath them, you got, like 6 big companies that own all the, they own all the real estate, and they own all, like, media outfits, I said media, they own all different types of...
Yeah, like those people who are like Warren Buffett, who owns...
Well, yeah, he's a 33rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they own, property, they own land, they own...
Stocks, everything.
Everything. So you got 6 corporations in the world that owns 90% of the assets and the money of the world, right? So even the Federal Reserve is not of the United States. It's a separate entity that's ran by the Rothschilds. See, the Rothschilds, they run all that from their house.
Wow.
And they live out in England. They don't leave that house.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
They don't leave the house.
Why is that? I mean, is there
because that's where the devil dwells. The devil could only be in one place. God is everywhere.
Yeah.
You understand?
True. Yeah, because God is he's
everlasting.
He's omnipresent.
Yeah, he's everywhere. You can't put God in there, sir.
Yeah,
He's too big.
And you can't have the devil
No.
everywhere.
No.
He's limited to his power.
One spot.
Amen.
Well, he'll use his foot soldiers to do other things.
Exactly.
They're all demons. They're all demon possessed. They're vessels. They're fleshly vessels that are compartmentalized. They're like shattered. They shatter their brains, and it's just like MK Ultra, right? They use MK Ultra to break the minds of people, and then they mold them the way that they want them to go.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Or satanic ritual abuse. That all comes together with the Freemasons.
So their ultimate goal is pretty much to have one world order,
one world religion,
and one world
currency. Yep.
To eventually rule the world.
Rule the world, right?
Which is to usher in also
the Antichrist.
The Antichrist, Mark of the Beast, and so
Mark
on.
of the Beast, right?
So you've seen all this firsthand.
Yeah. Oh yeah, firsthand. I mean, I've seen the rituals. I see where they imitate them trying to kill you.
Wow.
You know, when you get in your masters, they put you like they simulate that they're stabbing you, and they killing you like Tubal Cain. You know.
So in other words, like you almost have to, kind of like the way we have to be reborn.
Yes, they're making a mockery out of baptism.
Right, and it's actually reversed. And you know what? The devil works like that because. Yeah. So if we have to be reborn, they pretty much say you have to
die first.
You have to
die.
kill yourself for the devil. Yeah. Wow.
So just like like the satanic baptism, they baptize them in blood in a cast iron bathtub.
Right.
If you see the videos that you see, like this girl named Rihanna is one of them, that she's done blood sacrifices, and she's done a blood baptism, but they won't show blood in the bathtub. They show water, but it's symbolic. Their water is symbolic to blood.
Right.
And they have to get in that bathtub. Even Eminem, you see him on one of those magazines. He's just leaning back, bare chested, with blood up to his stomach.
Wow.
In a cast iron, bathtub, and that's how they do their rituals. Everything is backwards.
Who's the other guy? I know there's a lot of them.
A lot of them. Yeah.
Was it Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne is another. That's the most satanic one around.
Right,
him,
yeah.
Little Baby, the one that promotes him. He's a pedophile. He's a fag.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they're all homosexuals. They have to be like the Baphomet. Like is it above?
Baphomet,
Like is it below? You see the Baphomet?
Yes. He's got 4 arms. Something like that.
No. That's Hindu. I'm talking about the Baphomet is the god of the Knights Templar.
Okay, I'll post a picture as you're saying this.
Yeah.
I'll post a picture.
It's a goat's face with horns.
Right.
Has breast of a woman and the remaining lower half of man, and then the feet of a goat.
Wow.
You know, so they worship that. That's Lucifer. All right. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
They eat fecal matter. They drink urine. I mean, it's disgusting. I never did that. You know, I never got that high up to do nothing like. But when you're up there and they expose everything to you at the 30th to the 33, you know, you're done. You're selling yourself to the devil at that point.
And then not only that, you're sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, you sworn never to divulge any information, but to always protect and help your fellow brother. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was the first step, and then what was the second?
The second is fellowcraft. That's that's the second degree, fellowcraft. Okay. Same kind of rituals, but it's now you go from raising your pants, you know, like trousers on the right. Now you're gonna do it on the left, and now you got a different ankle toe with a ball, you know.
Man, that's crazy.
And then you blindfolded. They take you, you know, the actual officer. They call them officers, the ushers. I call them ushers. They usher you around, and you got to bow where you have to bow, and you got to, you know, do what you got to do, and they make you face the worshipful master of the east, the worshipful master of the west. This is a specific part in the lodge. It's empty, and that's the north. You never face the north, you know, which it resembles where the Lord is at.
Right.
You know, they say that God is, you know, straight up north, you know, but they don't make you do nothing with that. It's just like senseless rituals, you know, and you want your ego to get through. You're eager to get your ring, you know, your token, or any other, you know, Masonic memorabilia that you could wear. You put it on.
I've met somebody when I was working at the shipyard. Someone who did have a ring.
Yeah, I used to wear a ring all the time.
Okay, so they give you rings.
No, you have to buy it. You have to purchase it yourself, or if you're my brother and I'm giving you a token of my appreciation to you because you already became a master. Right. Well, here's sometimes they'll give you a dime with a compass and square on it.
Wow, okay.
You know what I mean? Unless you really put it up close to see it, that's a token of appreciation and love from your brother.
Gotcha.
Or they'll probably, you know, well, you know what? We want to buy you your first ring. Or they'll give you a shield to put in your car. You know what I mean? So everybody sees that your brother, leave you alone. You get special privileges, you know, you get pulled over, cop, have a nice day. Because they're all,
Okay, I know those numbers are weird. Those numbers are weird. The symbols are weird. I'm weird. Alrighty. So, the homie Jacob Israel just dropped the video that was really good, and I want to play a clip of it because it went into some of the Knights Templar stuff. We're going to go to that clip now.
Some really pretty awful things to talk about. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, man who was famously known for his, kiss my buttocks match, where he would take his pants down and he would force people to literally kiss his butt in the middle of the ring to demean them, which is actually sort of like a ritual in occult circles.
His 1865 study, The Worship of the Generative Powers, Thomas Wright explains that the initiation ceremony of the Knights Templar would conclude with a kiss to the anus of the initiate. As I imagine most of you, my students, know, the Knights Templar was an illuminated organization which operated from 1119 until ? In any case, that reference to the analingual initiation ceremony is here perverted by modern-day sexual sadism, more extreme initiation than the Templars practiced.
Okay, so that's kind of weird, right? The Templars, I didn't know that they would do this anus-kissing ritual. But it's kind of funny because it's actually something I've been researching with the music industry. We started off with Megan Thee Stallion. it sounds silly that we're living in these times right now, but if we go throughout history, we can see that artists are connected to secret societies. Here is Lik Mik Aim Arsh. It's Mozart, who was definitely a high degree secret society initiate, and he probably got killed just like Stanley Kubrick did for releasing the magic flute and exposing a lot of the symbolism within it. I mean, some theorize that. And we go from this classical music era of Renaissance era, a very right brain era of art really inspiring people. And now we're in this total crazy idiocracy art of just butts on camera. And this is shown in the movie Idiocracy, right? The number one thing that wins all the awards is a movie called Ass, and it's just an ass the whole time there. But here's Mozart, Lik Me in Arsh, kind of funny. Just want to connect the dots there. And here's his magic flute, where it went into a lot of the occult symbolism all throughout the movie. It'd be very fun to decode it. There's also another good movie called The Magic Flute, but they changed the name, and it was Bruce Lee's last film. Highly recommend it. He was dead when he made the film, but it is very, very good.
Ultimate goal here is that if anybody ever, I guess, approaches somebody,
right,
stay far away from this.
Oh, you're gonna have to stay far away from and run. Don't stay close, because see, the problem with that is they use the actual word brotherhood as an advantage to them.
It's sad.
It's catchy. It's a honey.
When you say brotherhood, also,
yeah,
like this is going around a lot in the colleges.
Oh yeah, the Alpha Catas and all them. That's all Greek.
Yes.
And a lot of them becomes after a while, they'll become bones and skulls.
Wow.
Oh yeah, especially if you're in Yale. That's where they come from, But they do you have to be a master Mason before you become anything else. Depending on your upward mobility, and rituals, the quicker you get them done, the quicker things are revealed to you. But like I said, you could go as high as you want. If you got money, you could buy your way up. Honorary. You know how many times they give honorary doctorates that people never ever been in college?
Yeah.
For example, Bill Cosby got an honorary doctorates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they jacked him up with these women and stuff. They took it away, but he's a Freemason. But see, if you start exposing them, they'll go after you. They'll go after your family. They'll try to kill you because the government is part of it. It's not only civilians. The government is in cahoots with these people.
Right.
And in there's sectors throughout the whole country that's split apart. I don't know if it's north, east, south, and west, but they have witches that are in charge of these sectors and warlocks that are in charge of these sectors, and they pretty much monitor the satanic. I'm going to use the satanic, members.
Mm-hmm.
Like they call congregation too, just the opposite of being a Jesus believer. I don't want to use the word Christianity.
Yeah.
But I want to, believers, right? So they have specific warlocks and, Council of 13 witches, which are either male or female, and pretty much they're in charge of thousands of members of the congregations and the local witches and warlocks that are in charge of that congregation.
Wow.
And a lot of them are politicians, heavily involved in witchcraft. And they have to do certain rituals and certain things in order for them to gain favor with the Rothschilds, and then they send orders of doing things for that family.
Wow.
They give them orders, and with those orders money comes with it.
And so like the exact same way we try to expand the kingdom of God,
they're doing it the other way. Oh yeah, it's satanic at the core. This whole country is not based upon Christianity. It's satanic from head to toe. Don't ever think that the president is not a satanic worshiper either. Don't ever think. And I'm going to put it out there too. I'm going to put it out there.
Nice.
I'm going to put it out there. Because, come on. Their God is money. Lucifer. They don't have none of want or need.
What you doing? What you doing, Mason? What you doing?
But we're going to jump on this because I'm being attacked by his followers, and we're going to get into some of that. But they do have the right to respond. So I got the right to say my free speech. They have the right to have their free speech. But we're going to air this all out and get it cleaned up here because there's some stuff that Jaron Brandon is doing that people need to be aware of, and that's what these videos are all about. So he misrepresents himself, and I'm going to get into all of that, and that's what these videos are all about. These people are all dressed up in all black. They all look like they just came from some sort of black magic, witchcraft seance, or who knows what. They look like Klaus Schwab right here from the World Economic Forum. Watch out for this guy.
Appreciate the World Economic Forum providing me the opportunity to be on this stage and say, fuck you, Klaus Schwab, and fuck your New World Order. We, the people, were born free, we will stay free, and you and all of your globalist friends, including everyone in this room, can go fuck yourself.
Silence can only be equated with fraud where there is a legal or moral duty to speak, or where any inquiry left unanswered would be intentionally misleading.
Good morning to the County of Tuolumne Corporation. I'm John Flynn, your political watchdog. Take a bite out of crime. You're all crooks anyways. So, we have Jaron Brandon and Ryan Campbell. You two were at a special board meeting September 25th, 2023. And Jaron Brandon and Ryan Campbell, you're both throwing down satanic hand signs, triangles. And after the meeting, after I get through talking, I hope you can address this. And Jaron Brandon, your bio states you belong to both Alpha Tau Omega and Sigma Chi, whatever. They have Masonic roots, as do many other fraternities. Can you confirm or deny, after I'm speaking, any affiliations with the Freemasons or any other group that requires a secret oath? Now, this all can be backed up with Robben has a Facebook called Tuolumne County Scandal. Check it out. That's Facebook. Okay. Ryan Campbell and Jaron Brandon, there is no copy of your loyalty oath under the California Constitution, Article 20, Section 3, on file with the recorder, Debbie Bautista. Why? That's required, by the way. California Government Code Section 1463, a government crime insurance policy or employee dishonesty insurance policy, including faithful performance, subject to approval by the presiding judge of the Superior Court and recorded in filings provided in Section 1457. 1457, government bonds of an officer of a county and shall approved by the presiding judge of the Superior Court, recorded in the office of the county clerk's office. No bonds for any of the Board of Supervisors. That's been verified now. Now we're going to go into felon title codes. Falsifying a record. It is a crime under state and federal statutes for a. Okay, I get that. For to falsify or otherwise tamper with public records with the purpose of deceiving or injuring anyone or to conceal any wrongdoing. See Title 18 United States Code Action. Thank you. 20. All right. Thank you.
All right, what we watched was John Flynn went ahead and confronted both Ryan Campbell and Jaron Bryant, and both of them were there on the record, and none of them objected or otherwise spoke, otherwise did not defend themselves. So what you have is silence, and therefore they have consented and conceded to the allegation. And we have prevailed. I've prevailed, John Flynn. And that's the fact, Jack.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
So on December 5th, 2023, there was a Board of Supervisor meeting that happened, and you're going to watch that. And the tail end of the meeting, the video is edited, where I had asked Anaiah Kirk on the camera, which would have been facing me, when he came up behind me, if he had posted his bond, and he admitted that he didn't, which we already knew because none of the bonds were filed in the county clerk's office, the recorder's office there. And so that's what's going on in this meeting, and I'll explain more after you watch it.
It's just not, excuse me, you're not at the podium, and you're not allowed to be at the podium, so I'm sorry. We're going to get on. I have something for you, Mr. Robben. I have something for you, so, and it's the government code that you quote, and it says specifically, 24156, the Board of Supervisors of any county may, by resolution, adopt a program of self-insurance in lieu of bonds, and it goes on. So you were mistaken, you misunderstand. I am sorry, we can talk about this offline. We're going to continue our meeting.
Take my neck out and put myself in this position.
I'm going to have to stop.
You can't. I have to rebut it. You never had jurisdiction.
I'm going to have to stop this meeting if you don't.
Did you ever
step down?
Can any of you show your bonds? No, the answer is no.
Okay, I just wanted to let everyone know that the next video shows Kathleen Half editing the minutes to make it look like I caused a problem when I went in there simply to do public speaking. And they've been harassing us, me and John Flynn, and threatening us because we're having, it's not like I take pleasure in going there and doing this, right? I complained about the waste management cover-up, and these people have treated me like a criminal and using the court systems and everything else to come after me now. So I just found out that they're not bonded, right? None of them have taken the proper oath, and they don't hold office legally. So now they just ignore you, threaten you, and change up the minutes, and they've been calling special meetings and basically doing everything like you would see in a Nazi kind of a regime. Yeah, that's what we have here.
And then for number one, I do have a couple of comments that I need to make. Actually, they're corrections. One's a comment. I'd like to see less generic wording we opened up oral communications in the afternoon on the 5th. And asked those who did not get a chance to come forward to speak. And so it was under that section, and it needs to read, I think it was something very generic, it needs to read, Supervisor Half recessed the meeting when Flynn attempted to comment again after having already commented in the morning. Robben began arguing with the chair and was disruptive, so she recessed the meeting because he would not follow her directives. I'd like that to be read into the minutes.
The answer is no.
We're stopping the meeting. I'm going to call for a break. Please follow me. I'm going to resume the meeting now.
Hey guys, I'm getting my law right here from the official California government site for, getting government codes and their law. And the statute Supervisor Kathleen Half is referring to, 24156. I'll read that to you in a second, but I want to point something out.
Government Code 24156.
The Board of Supervisors of any county may, by resolution, adopt a program of self-insurance in lieu of bonds for any officer or employee employed by such county, or for the officers or employees of any district, the governing board of which is the Board of Supervisors of the county adopting the resolution, or for any officer or attaché of any court supported in whole or in part by the adopting county. After the resolution is adopted, any or all requirements of law with respect to faithful performance or revolving fund bonds shall be inapplicable to such county, district or court or any officer or employee thereof. Provided, however, that such a county shall provide for self-insurance, the amount of which shall be determined pursuant to the provisions of sections 1480, 1481, 24150, and 24151.
The statute Supervisor Kathleen Hath is referring to, 24156. I'll read that to you in a second, but I want to point something out. It was added in 1976. Their resolution wasn't passed until 2021, December 7th.
Robben, you're a year too late!
And it's a little bit too late. And they are referring to a workers' comp insurance plan from 1979. However, workers' comp is not, it's not a bond, you know. So they didn't hold office. And another key point to all of this, okay, when you read the statute, and I'll point this out here, right here, you got to read this. I'll read it to you in a second, but it refers, when it says shall, right? So shall be determined pursuant to the provisions of these other sections. So you need to read the whole thing. And shall means shall, right? So when you read this, yeah. So this is pointing out what I just said. And they didn't do that in 1976. But if you go down here, there's some other key provisions that need to happen. And at the end of the day, it needed to be filed. It needed to be filed by the judge. So prior to the primary election, immediately preceding the election of county officers, the judges of the Superior Court shall, right, underline, prescribe the amount in which each member of the Board of Supervisors shall, there's shall again, execute an official bond before entering the discharge of duties of office, right? And that was 2004. So I think you're 17 years too late. Because the resolution wasn't passed until December 7th, 2021. And I'll show that in a second when I get that. And yeah, it's also down here. I mean, it's over and over and over again. I mean, and not only that, the judge, right? So the judge at that time, whoever the presiding judge was, any of them, it doesn't matter. They weren't bonded themselves, and none of these people took the proper oath of office. Okay, under Article 20, Section 3 of the California Constitution. Okay, you guys, these videos start to take on a life of their own, and I've already created some previous videos that address the bond issue. It has all the information and proof and the evidence, including Gavin Newsom and the letters from the Secretary of State, the governor's office, and the bond information, and it should have the information on the oath of office. I've created this whole Facebook site Tuolumne County scandals, and you should be able to access this even if you don't have Facebook, by finding Googling that, and it's open to the public, so people can post here as well. It's focused on Tuolumne County scandals. I'm trying to not keep it political, and some people are confusing politics and all of this because of any nature of things, right? I mean, if I bring up corruption, then people who support Joe Biden are going to say I'm corrupt, and then they're going to also say Trump is corrupt. It's the whole thing. But the bottom line is there's a lot of corruption, and this is for Tuolumne County corruption, and it's my case being showcased. And I'm also going to do a website, and I'm putting a lot of stuff on YouTube, and the YouTube channel is right here, Ty Robben, and I've got these videos, and this video right here shows a lot about where this one leaves off. You should start at part one. It explains where I started the story, and then it goes to part two. This is about the bonds, and this was about the original version of hand signals. And then this is the video really going in depth about the open meeting violations, and that all these meetings are special meetings, and how they allow you sometimes to speak and sometimes they don't. When they allow you, they no longer allow you to call in or use a Zoom call, and everything is documented there. And you can go to these other videos so these videos don't become 3 hours long. I wanted to get back to Jaron Brandon, but Jaron Brandon isn't bonded. So that's what's so important about all of this. And neither are the Board of Supervisors or any judge in Tuolumne County or the state of California or the governor of California. Just basically every official out there. I'm pretty sure it would affect the sheriff as well. It does affect the Tuolumne County sheriff and probably their deputies, the district attorney, and so on and so forth. This particular video here is real good. This shows Jaron Brandon responding to a Facebook showdown, basically in Columbia, at the Columbia, California news group where I posted. It's a public group, and simply this tells the story where Jaron Brandon came on, bullied me, and I was kicked out of the group. But that violates the Brown Act, so that's a real important to watch. But this video really picks up where I just left off. All right, you guys, there's a website called Bonds for the Win. This became real popular during COVID, during the lockdowns. A lot of people figured out how this works. And sure enough, you can go check it out, Bonds for the Win. It's got some good information. It doesn't have all the information, but it does have the tutorials and some step-by-step and some information about the states and whatnot.